York, it is the Monday show on Thursday, on Friday, because it is after midnight. Quite a bit after midnight right now. It's like almost 1 a.m. And before we get started on the Artemis stuff, got a couple of things that I'm a few hours behind on addressing because I spent the last few hours tuning my 3D printer, which you can see right over here is presently tuned to print at 100 millimeters per second. Typically, you do it at supposedly you do this at in a stock configuration, but I usually do 25 to 50 millimeters a second. 25 millimeters kind of just ensures that it'll behave. What we got here, I got to get on that. Dude, I was finishing my IBM course, man. I got like one last course for this IBM thing, one last thing, literally, and then I'll be able to like focus on everything else, including shipping your Nintendo. Um, but yeah, so whatchamacallit? Good evening, Wade. Good to see you. Real Wade Gaming recap. Real Wade Nation Gaming recap. It's a mouthful. See, at least I said the whole name. Yo, what up, Nemesis of Eden? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. I know you had a couple of events. Well, you had one big event a few weeks ago. I saw your stream. I didn't tune in because I forgot what I was doing that night. But hope you're doing better. Hope you're having a good week. Doing a fly-by liking. Oh, okay, I'll take a fly-by liking. I think I do that to you sometimes, too. So, serves me right. You know, sometimes you got friends who just like, you see their shit, and maybe you're doing something else. Maybe, you know, you got to go hit it and quit it. Maybe, like, you catch the tail end of their stream. You know, I always hit that like button anyway if it's someone cool, because I figure I'll probably like their stream. But yeah, we got this 3D printer, so I got to get back to the telescope before we look at the Artemis pics. But what I did was I'm printing a calibration cube, which I have one laying around on my desk somewhere. And I printed a regular, like, 20 by 20 by 20 millimeter calibration cube, and it came out pretty good, actually. Like, it didn't really have much of an elephant's foot, which is a common thing with 3D printing, where the first layer is a little bit wider. Well, because I didn't really know what else I wanted to print, I didn't want to print anything complicated, because I know if you try to print a starship, you get some odd shapes in there, and it doesn't always cooperate, especially like when you print a Star Trek ship. You got to print it standing up on the warp engines typically, and some models you print them in separate pieces and you glue them together. But when you get this like jerking action where it's shaking back and forth, sometimes it'll tip over on you if it's not adhering to the bed correctly. So I went with a nice shape, nice safe shape, a calibration cube, and I sized it up to like 100 by 100 by 100 millimeters. So I figure I can still use it as a calibration cube because I can measure. I can put a ruler up against it, make sure it's dimensionally accurate. I wouldn't, typically the point of calibration cube is you print something small that you can measure. And that's what I would typically do. But like I said, I wanted a giant calibration cube. I don't know what the F I'm going to do with it. Maybe use that as a weapon because, I mean, it's got pointy corners. But let's get to the telescope right now, and then we can talk about Artemis. So on my right screen, hey, where's my camera? My vanity demands that I'm on camera. Yeah, look at these beautiful Artemis pics. I'll give you guys a little preview of what we're going to be looking at later, but we're going to focus on this later, a little later. What's up, Snow? Real quick, let's say hi to the remainder of the chat. We have Snow. What's up, Snow? Good to see you. We got DJ Play Nice. Good to see you too, man. Thanks for, the positive words. Yeah. Like, make sure you hit that subscription. Make sure you got that bell on and hit that like button. I will show that rocket-related video as soon as I get my telescope pointing at something. So this is a artificial, well, it's not artificial, but this is a lunar eclipse or solar eclipse, but it's kind of artificial because, I mean, they flew behind the moon to get this view. So I don't know if that counts as a real solar eclipse or not, but, I mean, it counts, but, like, for once, we didn't have to wait for the moon to align. We literally sent people to fly behind the moon, so it's kind of gnarly, I think. Well, let's get a couple more pictures real quick before we get to this. So this is the Artemis capsule, and you see it does have tiles on the top, but they're a different type of tile, obviously. They don't have to take nearly as much heat as they typically do. The heat shield is protected by this big part here. The heat shield is on the blunt end of this capsule. And then the last picture I want to show you before we get to the 3D printer is an amazing picture. It might be this one, it might be another. Yeah, this is it. So this is a really cool picture because they took it on the dark side of the Earth. This is the nighttime side of the Earth. What up? What up? Excuse my language. I mean, I didn't use any language. I just spoke bad English. As I was saying, what up, Chaos? Good to see you, Chaos for you, 728. He streams pretty frequently. He streamed earlier this afternoon. I tuned in just as his stream said, stream ending on the screen. See, that's an example of a man's channel who I always hit the like button on, even if I'm just coming in at the tail end. It's like a chronic issue for me. Like, I just click on it at the end. So yeah, like the picture is grainy because they set the ISO on the camera, the ISO very high because unlike the Apollo 17 picture, this was taken on the dark side. But look at this, because the ISO is so high, because there's no light coming from the Earth, or at least less light than typical, you can see the aurora on the north and south pole. This is actually the south pole because we're looking at upside down Earth. But in addition to the aurora, you'll observe this orange line here. This is the sodium line. So when meteorites burn up in the atmosphere, they leave sodium in the atmosphere and it ionizes due to an electrical charge. It sort of glows like a fluorescent light, basically. And you can actually see that. Obviously, the sun is going to overshadow it on this side. You got the North Pole aurora right here, so I guess the northern lights. And then you got yet more sodium lines. So yeah, we're going to look at these a little more later. Right now, I need to get logged into my backyard PC because if I don't, I'm going to waste a night of quality imaging. Well, assuming the weather is good. So let's see here. Hey, what's up, Slim Nim? I forgot what I was going to do. I had a video clip that was right up your alley. I think it was like a AI generated video about what it's like to be a nighttime worker at a gas station. Oh boy, yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna get any good astro imaging tonight. The Earth is turning black on the left over here, so looks like we're at the end of the world over on the left side of Pennsylvania. If you're living in Pennsylvania or anywhere to the left of that, you're in a blackout right there, obviously. But no, jokes aside, the real issue is this white stuff here. That looks like fog. So I don't think we're going to be doing any astro imaging tonight of any import. Like maybe I'll fire up the imaging. We already got the cameras cooled down. We got the, what up, Orc? We got the camera cooled down. And the telescope, where's that telescope aiming? I think it's aiming at something. That's not good if it's, I left it unattended, so that could be bad. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. Good news, the telescope is not in an awkward position right now, but we're going to park the telescope real quick. And we're also going to adjust my sound settings so you can hear the voice, because you know there's a voice on the telescope? It's not a voice on the telescope, of course. It's not really a voice. Here, when I click on this button, it's going to talk.
Tracking on.
See, how cool is that? It sounds like a freaking space computer. Tracking on. So anyway, let's turn on the auto guider, the guiding camera here, the guide scope, and see what it sees. Now let me crack open my window. It's a little warm in here right here. Fog is terrible lately. I know that fog is the most terrible. Fog is always so mean. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm talking about fog like it's a person. But yeah, it looks like the 3D printer's working right. I mean, I think it's like, it looks so dramatic when you print at 100 millimeters a second on something small. Like, in fact, I think it's still on the first layers. So after it gets to the early layers, it's going to print at like an even higher speed. It might already be printing at high speed right now, but it looks so dramatic when it's printing something small because it's constantly going, doo, 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 doo. It's like super cool. All right. So yeah, we're getting pretty poor light. Wait, never mind. Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. Good news is I didn't waste any astro imaging time. Bad news is I need to check the weather real quick, make sure that it's not going to rain on my telescope. So allow me a moment to check the meteorological forecast. Okay, it's not going to rain. It's going to be cloudy tomorrow, but it's going to be clear on Saturday. So maybe tomorrow night I'll get imaging opportunities. Obviously, I will check in periodically because AccuWeather says it's clear right now. It probably is clear right now. I can't see my eyes. My room have bright lights on right now, so there's no way I'm looking. I was about to try to look out the window. It's like that's not even happening. But what we saw on the GOES East image here, I think it'll be instructive if we take a quick look at the infrared imagery. See, okay, so yeah, that's fog. I don't know what this glitch is, but that's fog over there. That white, that bluish stuff. Yeah, that's definitely fog. And sometimes you won't get fog, but you'll get the characteristics of fog. You'll get like you'll run into issues that you would typically encounter because of fog. Now, I just need to copy a video from the backyard PC to this PC. I guess I could play it directly from that computer, but I'm going to copy it. What the heck? It renamed my file. Alright, I guess I could rename it again. Artemis 2 flyby, we'll call it for now. It's sort of like a preliminary copy of the file. 7.9 gigabytes. Do I have space on this computer? I do and I don't. I basically do. There we go. We're copying the video now, so we'll have a video to watch in a little while, guys. Because, you know, I wanted to make sure we have some footage there. I'm going to move these folders around. I'm going to see what Slim and Wade had before we get to the pictures. So let's see here. Slim has a... it's loud. Okay, it's only loud for me. Not loud for you guys. Oh, is this one of those flat earth videos where they go and they look at the coast and they're like, see, the boats are going over the horizon? Oh, that's cool. But sometimes you get these videos where like a flat earther will like film the ocean and the boat will disappear, right? And then they'll zoom in on it with like a zoom lens, or not even a zoom lens. They'll get a Nikon P900 because, you know, they're flat earthers, so they don't know how real cameras work. So they just buy a good point and shoot camera and they pretend that it's like the best thing ever, when they could literally buy a telescope that is designed for ground use and that would do better, or get a SLR with a good lens and do better. But either way, it gets the point across from there, at least as far as they think. And so they show, look, see, yes, the boat went over the horizon, but then you could bring it back when you zoom in on it. And it's like, okay, cool. I mean, it doesn't really prove the Earth is flat, but then, of course, the question becomes, well, if you can zoom in on it, then why don't you, you know, like, zoom in on it some more? You know, like, I mean, you just hit the limit of your zoom. Well, can you bring the boat back into view after it goes over the horizon a second time? But let's watch that one more time, because I think we need to take it in. So someone's at a parking garage in Florida. I think it's Florida. Could be somewhere else. I mean, it's a Cape, right? Cape Canaveral, so I guess they're looking at the Cape. I don't know what that stuff is. That's some very bizarre video compression artifacts. That is the big VAB. The VAB is the Vehicle Assembly Building. It's a big-ass building. Let's go look up a video of the Vehicle Assembly Building, just to give you guys an idea. This building has... Oh, that's cool. Jared Owen did a video of this.
This is the Vehicle Assembly Building. NASA has used it to construct massive rockets before they lift off from the launch pad. In this video, we'll see inside the building and how it's been used for more than half a century.
I don't know why the audio is a little... Oh, there we go.
This video is sponsored by
the audio is a little low on your end, guys. But
in the 1960s, NASA was headed to the moon. The launch vehicle for this was the giant Saturn V rocket with the Apollo spacecraft at the top.
Oh, I know why the audio.
They needed a place to assemble the pieces of the rocket, and the launch pad wasn't set up for this. This is why they built the Vehicle Assembly Building, often just called the VAB. This building is still in use today.
Sound is working correctly.
It's a controlled environment that protects from the outside weather. It keeps the rocket safe until it is moved to one of the launch pads, usually just a few weeks before the launch.
Before it's moved to your mom.
The VAB has been mainly used to assemble three rockets: Saturn V, which was used by the Apollo program,
I'm just going to get Reggie's voice on standby here.
and the Space Launch System, or SLS,
gotta route
which is
Reggie's
currently being
voice to
used
my
for the
headphones
Artemis
so I can hear it
program,
too.
which will return
Oh, wait a
astronauts to
second,
the
that's not
surface
going
of
to
the moon.
work.
Construction of the VAB
I mean, it could
started
work.
in 1963,
I know
and it took 3 years to build. The building cost $117 million US. That's more than $1 billion US in today's money. Over the years, they expanded the facility that are big enough to fit a rocket. The foundation for the VAB extends beyond the north side of the building. There is space to build 2 more additional high bays, and if needed, they can even extend the roof to allow for larger rockets. However,
That's
as
what
of the
she
year
said.
2024, there are no current plans to do this. On
That's
the
a
side
huge building. If you
doors,
ever see the movie Apollo
the
13,
main
they do a
first, we'll
flyover.
start with the Saturn V. Back
Okay,
when
I had no
the
freak. Wait,
VAB
are these to
used for
scale? Are these to scale? I think these might be to scale. That's pretty insane if these are to scale right over here. I mean, like, the space shuttle is damned huge, but like, this just shows you how huge, if this is to scale, how humongous the Saturn V was. I mean, you know, it was definitely using a different set of technologies to accomplish what it did, but damn. So let's see. Did I play Wade's video yet? I did. That was Wade's video. Oh yeah, I gotta go find Slim Nim's video now. Here it is. Let's get Slim Nim's video up.
Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's episode, I'm going to be unboxing the new Tomy Collector
Alright, I'm skipping through this.
one.
I already know where this is going.
Chance to
Enterprise
purchase one new
refit.
Collection 22 and shipped in the fall of 2023. I did a
How much
video
did you
where
pay?
I unboxed the original Enterprise model. That original Enterprise sold for $5.99 a piece, and this refit edition, so it's for $6.99. Get this and
$700 bucks.
The
Alright.
If I turn on the universal, well, check out the examine for damage.
Oh, you gotta build it?
It kind of limits Enterprise because that one uses batteries and it kills about.
I hope you don't have to paint it. I hope you don't have to paint it. For $700, man, that would be frustrating if you had to paint
the
it.
Aztec paneling paint would have
Oh,
weird
they
looking
painted it
contrast,
already.
but it actually looks great. There is a lot of variation, but it's very subtle in
That
the
is very subtle.
reflectiveness and color of the hull panels. The model has some variation in the color scheme. It's much more subtle on film. This Tomy model, on that top section of the secondary hull, it almost looks like a sticker or a decal that is somewhat out of place. Very nice model. I love the level of detail on this. Solid. I like that about it.
This is way cooler than the Millennium Falcon I got. I got a
from
Millennium
here-
Falcon about that
And
size.
hopefully I put it on the base the right
It's not
way.
a model, it's a
Okay,
toy,
looks
but
like the
pretty cool.
oh, okay, the saucer supports. These pieces out.
Oh my god, a
Transport
Vulcan
ship.
Sturrock shuttle was included with the freaking thing?
All these pieces out.
That's a Vulcan
The
Sturrock shuttle.
bay.
That's the shuttle that Spock, you know, arrived
Yeah.
with in the motion picture.
The, hey,
It does that cool
let's
flip maneuver. I swear they designed that shuttle just so
Now
they
we
could
gotta
have
see
the
if it
freaking pod
docks.
do that cool flip maneuver like this and then dock. He didn't do the flip. Oh my god!
connects.
It freaking docks. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh
Gotta
yeah, you
see
can see
if
it
it
right here. Look,
docks.
you can see it in the corner.
I guess.
There you go. Look at the bottom left corner.
Now we
That's
gotta
the
see
cool
if it
flip maneuver
docks.
it did. I feel like that's like, I don't know if that's like un-Vulcan of them to do, or if it's the most Vulcan thing you could do to do that with precision.
It connects.
Permission to come aboard, sir.
Put this cover on the shuttle bay. All right. Here in this side view, the Enterprise looks amazing. I didn't realize this version of the Enterprise was so colorful. There are a lot more gray and blue details that are prominent on this model, but a little bit less noticeable on the screen. And
Oh my god, it has sounds. It has sounds.
there are 5 different lighting modes that the Enterprise can operate. There's the startup mode, where the exterior lights turn on. The main deflector dish lights up orange. And then there's the underway mode, which turns on the navigational running lights. The main deflector dish turns blue, and the impulse deflector crystal turns orange. Yes, what that dome is called, because I've read Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise. Called Full
Mr.
Bells,
Scott's Guide to the
Engines,
Enterprise.
and
He,
your
yeah,
weapons,
it's
the
in
4
there.
phaser banks. Fire. Tap the button again, you could activate the port side phasers. Port side phasers and the bottom phasers. Tap it twice will launch photon torpedoes.
Oh god. Be cool if something came out of it.
If you tap it 3 times, it'll fire everything. all the three. Of the details on this model on both the exterior
Ooh,
and the
you get to see the shuttle bay and cargo bay.
Here's a look at the shuttle
Okay,
bay.
you see the shuttle bay, not the
This
cargo
one
bay.
did not come with any shuttles, but I can take one from my original series Enterprise, and it fits just fine.
How anachronistic.
In the windows behind the bridge, you can get a
Please
peek
tell me
into
there's
the
stuff
officer's
inside.
lounge on C deck. It was difficult to focus my camera because it's very detailed in there, but here's the floor plan for Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise. Botanical garden on the ship.
Oh no, they even have the plants in there.
Here's the layout for Mr. Scott's Guide. The biggest complaint seems to be the light leaks in the gaps of the saucer section.
My biggest complaint is that
Some
the
of the
saucer
interior
has
lights
struts
bleed
on it,
through
but I kind of
cracks,
understand you
but
need
that can
that.
easily-
Like, it is a very, very, difficult to balance model. I mean, it's sort of why they
fits with
designed
some
it that
modeling,
way,
honey.
because it looks so
Another
absurd and
complaint is about the
impossible
seam that you can see
that you
running
can
down
only
the
have
center,
something of
but-
this absurd design where it looks so delicate in the future, you know? That's a beautiful model there. Go into the open ocean, watch the sunset. You'll see really quick the earth isn't flat. Yeah, I know, right? By the time you lose track of land, you keep going. Oh, you were in the Navy. That's cool, Chaos. You've seen many sunsets. That too, right? You're going to see sunsets. Wherever you go on the planet, you're going to see sunsets. Well, flat earthers make no sense because they'll say things like, oh, it's the vanishing point, they call it. Like, they have this weird, like, idea that, like, oh, that's so cool. Look at the 3D printer. It's moving fast. It's doing the infill. So it prints really fast when it does the infill. The infill kind of looks jagged, but the infill doesn't need to be pretty to do its job. It's just a series of lines that give it more internal structure or internal structure period. So in the end, if you ever have an incomplete print, you'll see that even if the infill looks jagged, it has, structure to it. Although it does look pretty rough. We'll see how this print comes out in the end. The walls look good, though, I gotta say. 5x5. Shall I ask my grandpa to describe one of the funniest memories from the Navy? How now he's getting older, trying to remember one of those things that kind of get difficult. Describe to me how he is pulling into Alaska Station and it's so cold outside, and the stuff on the side of the ship, and there's stuff on the side of the ship, and they're having to beat the ice off the side of the ship. And just to show off, because they knew the ship was pulling in, there are 8 Marines outside in shorts playing beach volleyball in the snow as they pulled into port. Marines are madmen. The Marines shown they're going to be tougher on your ship than the boys. That's the Marines showing there's reason the Navy is transferring us. There's a reason the Navy is transferring us. Saturn V used kerosene, RP1, yes, that is correct, and liquid oxygen for its first stage. Artemis uses liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen for the first stage of the Space Launch System rocket. And speaking of that, the thing about the upper stage of the Saturn V, I forget if it was this stage or this stage, but I know the upper stage, I believe it's this upper stage here. I'm trying to remember now. I'm pretty sure it's this upper stage here that runs on liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Let's see here. Yeah, I think it literally might even tell us over here. Okay, second stage uses LOX and liquid hydrogen. Third stage uses LOX and wait, where's the other fuel? It's powered by a single J2 engine, LH2. Okay, so yeah, the upper 2 stages of the Saturn V utilize liquid hydrogen, but for the first stage, they did indeed use RP1, which is a highly refined kerosene. And of course, liquid oxygen is used as the oxidizer in all three stages. Now, the thing about working with liquid hydrogen is it brings a lot of difficulties. So by not using liquid hydrogen in the first stage, it made their job a little easier. But also, if you look at the space shuttle, there's a reason why the space shuttle has that big fuel tank, because liquid hydrogen is very, like, it's very energetic, but it also takes up more volume. So luckily, hydrogen is light, so taking up more volume isn't as big of a deal. I mean, it's still a very lightweight molecule or atom or whatever you call it. On the other hand, building a larger tank, you do make a trade-off, right? Because now you got to have more tankage, more material for your tank that is going to affect your overall performance profile. But in the end, it balanced out, and ultimately that's what we're using on the SLS as well. We're using a larger version of that same type of tank. So we got a larger liquid hydrogen and or larger liquid oxygen tank for the first stage. You got one extra engine on the back that, of course, gets it off the ground alongside the two boosters. Of course, the boosters are larger on the SLS, on the Artemis or, SLS rocket as well. And a big difference with SLS and the space shuttle is that a big difference with, between the space shuttle and both the rockets on the left and right is safety, in that it's safer. Well, how do I phrase it? You have more opportunities to abort, because if you're coming off the launch pad and one of these rocket boosters starts burning a hole in your fuel tank, this capsule could be pulled to safety. There's a little rocket up here that can basically use as an ejection mechanism that effectively turns the capsule into an escape pod. And both of these rockets are equipped with that. And of course, there's no solid rocket boosters on a Saturn V, but you could still have a situation where something blows up. Maybe like you lose the second engine, and you can lose the middle engine. It's not the end of the world. They've had it. In fact, Apollo 13 lost the middle engine, and it just meant, run the remaining engines for an extra few minutes. No big deal. But if you did lose a second engine, you might have to get pulled clear and abort. On the space shuttle, there was a blackout period where you couldn't abort. Basically, while the solid rocket boosters are burning, you cannot abort, because there's no way to turn off the solid rocket boosters. Once you get rid of the solid rocket boosters, I believe there are more ways to abort, but like one of them, for example, was they had a mission where they lost like an engine because, sometimes the engine just, shit happens. In this case, a piece of ice punched a hole in the bell, in the nozzle, and it was leaking oxidizer at a prodigious rate. And so they had to turn off that engine, or the computer turn off the engine automatically. At that point, they got two remaining engines, so they had to figure out, okay, do we have enough fuel? I mean, hell, we got a video of that. But it's a great video. Let's give this guy a like. I'm going to add it to my playlist over here. And we're going to go look up Space Shuttle Abort to Orbit, because that's what happened. And we have a video of a launch pad abort. Now, I don't know which one is the better video.
5 minutes, 5 seconds, mission elapsed time. Now 214. Stand by.
Let's see, that's a DivX video, so I'm going to assume
We
that's
have
not...
a go for auto sequence start.
both
Challenger 4 redundant
DivX.
computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
But yeah, good information, DJ Play Nice.
Minus 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Okay, so this is an abort to orbit scenario, and this is interesting because they do have some abort modes. One of the abort modes is called RTLS. So actually, let's take a look at that. RTLS is pretty cool. It's actually pretty scary, actually. Not cool. It's not scary in a bad way. It's just that RTLS literally means return to launch site. So how do you take a rocket like the space shuttle when it's burning that main engine and all of that stuff and get it back to the launch site? Well, as one of the astronauts said at the time in the first mission was, it would take a series of miracles and everything to work perfectly, like something like that. Hey, what's up, LCX? Good to see you, L. I told you, know the nerd stuff, and you're going to use this model to make shots that you want at home. It's outrageous. I know, right? That's insane. Yeah, I told you if you know the nerd stuff and the nerd stuff, you're funny, man. I would say that I use the same terminology though, so yeah. But yeah, we could make we could do like I guess you could, although think about like filming Star Trek, using practical models is you need like a precise rig for the camera. You need something that's motorized. It's not impossible to build, I don't think. Now that I think about it, probably could be very affordably built today. Like almost like this 3D printer. You just got some stepper motors in there, and you send like one pulse to the motor, it moves like a fraction of a millimeter. If you send 100 pulses to the motor, it moves 100 fractions of a millimeter, and before you know it, it's making significant moves. And remember, a microprocessor does everything in like a fractions of seconds. It's like everything is clockwork. So it's actually, something that, it's doable. Yeah, I'm printing a giant calibration cube. If anyone is tuning in late, we're printing a giant calibration cube that's precisely 100 by 100 by 100 millimeters. And I gotta say, the first layer, I do see a little elephant's foot on that first layer. So I'm not 100% sure. I can't wait to see. I was surprised. The elephant's foot wasn't that bad when I first looked at it, but I think with minor adjustment, I can get rid of that elephant's foot. Yeah, I got this thing printing at double the speed now. I calibrated it with a accelerometer. So Space Shuttle launches. Now, Space Shuttle main engines, LO through first TAL. Damn it, what the hell does TAL mean? I should know this. So, this doesn't look like a complete graph, to be honest. I mean, there's entire videos about this, about shuttle abort modes. We could look at one of those. Oh, come on. What am I supposed to do with that picture? What am I supposed to do with that picture, huh? Like the most useless picture I've ever seen. Let's try this picture. Ooh. Quora. So here we are. Space Shuttle gets off the ground. SRB staging. That's when the solid rocket boosters are ejected. And at some point after you eject your solid rocket boosters, this is when you enter your first abort window, basically, or when you have an opportunity to abort. Now, at this point, the Space Shuttle is attached to the the external fuel tank, this big, hot dog looking thing here. And they have a powered RTLS, so instead of going to their destination, they do something called a powered pitch around somewhere up here, apparently. And then they essentially fly backwards, or they go backwards. At this point in the flight, they're already pretty light because they've already used up a lot of the fuel, so they make really good time returning, reversing their course. Or I think, what are they doing here? No, I think they keep going this way, but they're slowing down, I guess. So they got the fuel tank attached, and they're using the main engines and the fuel tank and the remaining engines, assuming that you got an engine out, to kind of assist with doing this. Then, during the powered pitch down here, apparently, they do main engine cutoff, MECO. External tank gets separated and dumped in the ocean, and then they glide to return to the launch site, which realistically, they're not going to return to the launch pad. They're going to return to runway 22, or one of the runways that are near the launch site, which, at Cape Canaveral, Kennedy Space Center. And then they land, but a lot of miracles have to align for that to work. So an alternative abort mode is abort to orbit. So we're going to pull this clip up.
Everything is go. T-minus 12. T-minus 10. We have go for
I'm going to scroll down in the chat. Hey, what's up there?
5,
What up, Gerald's son?
4,
TZ Bull?
2,
I think that's how you pronounce it. TZ Bull. I believe that's like Sue,
we
like
have
Sun Tzu, right?
liftoff of Challenger and Space Lab.
So Challenger and Space Lab. Space Lab is a
2.
space
The
lab.
shuttle
The screen went black. You're not imagining it. Hey, what's up, Load Gamer, Overrated Pro, Game Gear Goddess?
has cleared the
So that's unfortunate. This happened. I recorded the Artemis launch. On C-SPAN, and yeah, I had the same thing happen. So I have to use a different version of that if I want to, get the launch in high quality.
tower.
Clear.
At the pool right now. Gonna take some pics of Nagi. You brought Nagi to the pool. Nice. Hey, what's up, Dave C? Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Dave C. Good company. Great mod. Friend of the Ironcaster, friend of many people I know actually.
Houston now controlling. They'll
Like
be throttling down
RTZ
to,
in recording.
65% throttles on their main engines.
It's going to be STS-75 all over again before they get back. Oh, is STS-75 Columbia by any chance? Did I just see a Gundam? Did you just see a Gundam? You might have, yes. This was kindly gifted to me by the great American punk waddle right here. This is, which one is this? I believe this is the one from Gundam New Type Narrative. It is missing an arm at the moment. I got to clean my desk and find the arm. I'm really pissed that I don't know where the arm is because I had it up here. One day it fell, and the rest is history. I will find that arm. It'll be like when MacArthur said, I shall return. I'm like MacArthur. I shall find that arm. But yeah, I gotta get. I just finished my IBM training course. I can't wait to finish. I can't wait till. I mean, I didn't finish yet. I finished it today or tomorrow. But when I finish this IBM course, I can get back to important things like building my GMs. I got more than one GM. Look at this beautifully painted shield. Look how beautiful that shield is. Look at that paint job right there. That's like a mix of metallic paints and metallic gold. And I don't know why it looks kind of. That's the light reflecting on it. But yeah, I put this black matte finish on it. I actually used a clear coat. I think I used a semi-matte clear coat. I don't know. It was supposed to be a gloss. It is a glossy clear coat, but it kind of looks matte here. I did subsequently buy a flat clear coat. But anyway, I digress. You get the idea. I have another GM in this bag. I actually got parts of a... Oh, there's my gun. I found my Javelin. I found my RGM 122 Javelin. So my gun tank, I can reassemble it as soon as I find the gun barrels. Look at the paint job on this. Look at the paint job on this here. Hold on. We're going to get back on topic in a minute, guys. But I want to show something to Dave C. because Dave C. can appreciate this. We'll get right back to the space shuttle. Don't worry, you're not derailing the show, Dave C. I chose to talk about Gundam for a minute because who doesn't want to talk about Gundam? So this is a shield that I cracked. I need to get my second camera view up. This is a Gundam shield that I cracked a long time ago. Because what happened was I was starting to get into painting Gunpla, so I put some. I figured out you could strip enamel paint using Zippo fluid. So right after doing that, I'm like, hey Punk Waddle, check this out, man. I figured out you can use Zippo fluid to strip paint away. He's like, oh, you should watch it, man. It can cause the thing to crack or something, or makes the plastic brittle. A day later, this thing cracks. I'm like, oh, he was right. So then I redid the paint job on it with the a mix of rust and deep red enamel paint. And then I used actual rust paint over here to do the white part of the shield because I had a bad paint job on the white, so I figured I'd just make it look like crap instead. I have this on my desk downstairs next to my 3D printer, I think, or it's in this bag maybe. So either way, I have a Gundam. I have a proper yellow straw. I have the I'm trying to flip it over so you can see the color, but I have one of these. It is painted. I got to inspect the finish and decide if I can use it as is or if I have to put a clear coat on it. But yeah, I can't wait to. Well, I could wait, but I look forward to getting deep into the weeds of Gunpla construction again. Oh, this is part of the gun tank's head. This also has that deep cherry paint on it. You can see the difference between the back and the front. It's not perfect, but if I can get it to look interesting, I'm not too worried about perfection. And this is what I wanted to show you and anyone else who wants to see this. So once again, I'm not going to go OCD on this. I'm going to leave this alone. I'm a little disappointed with the finish up here because I was trying to thin the paint and I just kept running into problems. At this point, I'm just going to leave it alone. Maybe find another way to weather it. Maybe use the weathering markers or something like that. Also, I don't know why I did. I usually I can get rid of these seams. I messed up on this. At this point, I'll leave it as is. But typically, I would use the Tamiya. Oh yeah, this seam is supposed to be here, so you don't have to get rid of this seam. But typically, if you want to get rid of the seams when they don't belong, you can use the Tamiya cement to sort of weld the ends together. In fact, it looks like that's what I did up here. Look at that. You can't even see the line. Yeah, that's what I did. I welded it with the Tamiya cement. I think that's what that. Yeah, I think I did do that successfully there. So I think I had to take this apart after assembling it. I don't know. Something happened there. Something weird happened. Let's get back onto the other topic. Son of a Gundam. Hey, what's up, Good Intent? Thanks for tuning in. Let's put this camera back up here now. Hey, what's up, Lady Mist? Do you have to go to bed? I mean, you could stay up. I mean, I'm happy to have you. I just want to make sure. I'm sorry I started the show so late.
Now throttling down.
So at some point during launch, they noticed that they're using fuel at a prodigious rate. Or at least they're using the
Now
liquid
at,
oxygen.
65%. Velocity now 1,000 feet per second. Distance downrange 2 nautical miles. Altitude 4.1. Challenger
skip.
4%. Go at throttle up.
Okay, so they're going to throttle up. So they always do that after going
4%.
supersonic. Because when you go supersonic or you're about to go supersonic, you have max dynamic pressure.
3 good APUs, 3 good fuel cells on Challenger.
Hydrogen fuel cells and auxiliary
1 minute, 30
power
seconds.
units. I believe they use a separate fuel like hydrazine or peroxide.
That call a precursor to SRB separation. Standing by for SRB set.
When I was a kid, I used to think this was the coolest thing ever. Seeing those things come off like little candlesticks. Some guy
Good SRB set.
was talking about the Artemis launch. Did we cover that last week? So there was a guy. We'll take a look at the pics in a moment. I do have the Artemis pics, so we are gonna take a good deep look at them. And in fact, we'll have to visit the Flickr gallery and see if they got if they got anything new. I believe they've been uploading new ones pretty frequently at this point. So we're gonna see.
That's confirmed. 40. Now 214.
Stand by for Preston ATL.
Challenger.
Okay, wait. What was that?
In
I think they-
velocity. And it's
I'm gonna listen.
2 minutes, 22 seconds now at 4,500 feet per second in velocity.
All right. He's gonna report something like an error message. I think that's an error or reporting back an issue right there. It must have
5 minutes,
censored
5
that.
seconds mission elapsed time.
It's in the official log, but the TV cover is not.
Preston ATL.
Challenge time.
You know what? Hold on. We're gonna just get another video of this because this guy covers it better than
This is
me.
the story of Challenger's 8th mission, or STS-51F. The story of STS-51F starts on the 12th of July, 1985. The space shuttle was on the pad and it was ready to go. The space shuttle was carrying Space Lab 2. It was a reusable lab that was developed by the ESA. The shuttle was also carrying a helium-cooled IR telescope and, I kid you not, Pepsi and Coke in specially designed cans so that astronauts could drink Pepsi and Coke in space. Actually, Coke had their can ready to go on an earlier mission, and Pepsi asked the Reagan administration to not let Coke be the first cola in space. Anyway, the countdown on the 12th was scrubbed when a coolant valve on engine number 2 of the space shuttle's main RS-25 engines
Yeah, they brought
malfunctioned at
Coca-Cola to
T-minus 3
space
seconds.
in
The
special
coolant valve
soda
had
cans.
to partially close for the engine
Thanks,
to
good
start up.
intent. We will
It
keep
had to go
rocking.
from 100% open to 70% open, but this did not happen.
Oh, we'll check out the
They had to
magician
abandon their
video
launch
momentarily.
attempt, and
Slim.
their next window of opportunity was on the 29th of July, 1985. And on the 29th, all readings from the vehicle were healthy. They were a go for launch. At 5 p.m. EDT,
If they
after
did
a
take any
delay of
pictures
about an hour and a
of it,
half,
you won't
Challenger
know for
was on her
years.
way
I
to
mean,
space.
I don't think there's I don't think there's a Chinese base on the dark side of the moon because they didn't make it to the moon yet. Our technology is just superior when it comes to aerospace, okay? I'm not being cocky. It's just the reality of the matter, okay? They are behind in that regard. Where they do have some strengths, they have, of course, how do I phrase it? They've went from being in the Stone Age to being in the modern age with great rapidity. And I think that's a very commendable thing. On the other hand, they've had some safety hazards. We've had our fair share of safety hazards. In the 1990s, they had a rocket take off and then do one of these and slammed into a village like uprange or downrange from the launch site. And I remember the Discovery Channel said that 600 people may have died. We don't really know the real number. We don't know if it was fewer people or more people. So I don't want to promote that 600 people figure. I figure that could be an upper limit number maybe. But either which way, the problem with the Chinese Space Agency is I forget if it's because of the orbital inclination or because of secrecy, but they tend to launch their rockets inland in the mountains. And that means that when you dump your empty stages, your empty fuel tanks, you're dumping them over land, you know? So it's like, it's just like a little bit of an issue there, right? But the main thing about Chinese rockets, some of them are interesting. Like I like the one where they improved upon the SpaceX concept where you have a barge and you land an empty booster on a barge. That's pretty cool. But what they did differently that was interesting was it has a series of four cables, and they kind of like have motors that make the cables move closer, and they do it on the X and Y axis. So you have like a square-shaped set of cables that close in around the rocket booster, like this cylindrical cup. So they grab it like this basically, and like in a square shape. So but the reason they did that was probably because they couldn't really, they knew they wanted to build this quickly. They need to catch up with the likes of SpaceX, whatever company was working on it. And they knew they couldn't, get to that level of capability without having a crutch to lean on. But still, I like the idea. I like the innovation in the idea, even if, even if it didn't work yet. Okay, so I went to look up a picture of it, and instead I found this. These are the invasion barges that people think they're building for Taiwan. Like, these are pretty interesting, though. These have jacks, so you can land them over shallow water, and then you can pull boats up behind the last boat and use them as, like, little bridges. So, yeah, invasion barges. Similar to the Mulberry Bridges at what do you call that one? What was it called? D-Day. So this isn't the best picture. There are real pictures of this. But you can see this is the rocket. It's got the little fins. It's got these little legs on the side or arms. And the cables have a square cutout in there, you can see. So the cables align as the rocket comes down. Or the rocket, it touches down. And then the cables embrace the rocket. So I'll give them, props for an interesting idea. But what was I saying about... Yeah, so I don't think they have the capability to build a moon base. Now, that said, it will be interesting to see if they're able to make a push for landing on the moon before we can get there next time. Because we've delayed Artemis a number of times. And part of it's the safety culture at NASA. They learned their lesson twice with the space shuttle. You had Apollo 1 where they had a fire in the launch pad. And they decided, okay, when we're doing ground testing, let's use the mixed oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere. And of course, they gutted the capsule. They took away combustible material. They basically, tidied it up properly so that the risk of such an incident would be drastically reduced after that. And in fact, that incident partly happened because we were rushing to get to the finish line on that. Challenger, once again, they thought that was impossible. Someone said, hey, look, this is an issue, but they couldn't quite articulate why. But in the end, they probably should have been cautious about that. I mean, when they got to the launch pad for Challenger, there was icicles hanging from the ground equipment. So kind of like, wasn't looking safe. And of course, Columbia, that one was like, I don't know what I would love to be a fly on the wall in the conference room to see what minds, what they had going on. But like, they declined to view spy satellite imagery of the hole in the wing. And that probably would have told them everything they needed to know. And yes, it would have been a big pain in the ass, but I mean, we did it for Apollo 13. People figured shit out. You got to improvise maybe. But you don't, I don't like when people talk about Columbia saying that there was nothing they could have possibly done. It's like, well, with that attitude, yeah, there's nothing that could be done if you have that attitude. Have a good night, Dave C. Thanks for tuning in, man. It was good to see you. So let's get back to the abort to orbit.
Engines ramped up to full power to clear the shuttle of the tower, and as she executed the roll program, they throttled the engines down to 65%. The engines are throttled back at max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure, to reduce the loads on the vehicle. Challenger made it through max Q. When it was a little
This is what they saw on the dark side of the moon.
Launch pad, Houston came
This
on
is the
frequency
Talon
and said,
mothership.
Challenger Houston, your go with throttle up, giving them the all clear to push the engines back up to 104%. So far, so good. The APUs and the fuel cells were in the green. 1 minute and 30 seconds into the flight, all looked good. The shuttle zoomed upward at 2,000 feet per second. A while later, the solid rocket boosters fell away as they had done all that they could to get Challenger into orbit.
They do
5
have
minutes
that
and 5
so that
seconds had
it
gone
cannot
by.
be retrieved
Still,
by other countries, thus discovered as having stolen that technology from other countries. Yeah, good one, Snow. That's quite possible. I mean, might be a factor. Because, our CIA, our CIA has done some crazy shit in a good kind of way. Like, I know the CIA's been up to some sketchy shit, and there's both humor behind it and, seriousness behind it. But a lot of humor behind it, too. But that being said, I mean, like, recently the CIA had a hell of an op. They did a disinformation campaign inside of Iran. So while they were searching for the pilot, they basically put out disinformation that said we found the pilot and we're trying to sneak him out of the country, or at least that's what it indicated. And it, of course, kept some people from trying to get the bounty because they're like, why would you want to go searching for a pilot when they already have a team of PJs, and well, PJs are like medics, and like they're really good medics that jump out of helicopters or airplanes or something. But other than that, you don't want to mess around with like a group of guys, U.S. Army guys or whatever they are, COs, whoever the fuck they are. You don't want to mess with them, So if you got a lone pilot and you can get $10,000 to apprehend him, you might go after him. But once he's got an entourage. Yeah, you don't want to go after him. And then the other part is it helps us to have the Iranian forces spreading thin, because now they're going to send their forces to the wrong location looking for our guy because of that disinformation. So very interesting. Also, they had a new technology they used. It has the ability, it's a device that they hang from a helicopter or an airplane, and it can detect a heartbeat from like a couple of miles away at least. It uses like artificial diamonds and quantum technology to basically, yeah, it picks up very, very faint electrical electromagnetic signals, like a heartbeat's electrical signal. The problem is it's super sensitive, so it picks up every radio signal. So then they trained an algorithm using machine learning, or AI as they call it, to basically almost like trying to isolate. If you have a crowded stadium and a bunch of people speaking, you want to isolate one conversation. I don't even know if we have technology to do that, but that's sort of what it's doing. And it's looking for the distinct shape of a EKG or whatever you call it inside all of that noise. So there is a distinct fingerprint somewhere in the noisy signal, and apparently it works.
Everything was going according to plan. Suddenly, a voice comes over the radio.
Oh yeah, so my point is the CIA has done some crazy shit. Like, I think one time a Russian submarine sank, and they fucking had an operation to go and retrieve that boat from the bottom of the ocean. So they had to get like a private ship or a ship that looked like a drilling ship or oil drilling ship, and use that to raise the Russian submarine and retrieve it from like the bottom of the Pacific Ocean.
And says, "Stand by for press to ATO," which was quickly followed up by Challenger Houston, press to ATO. Challenger's engine
COINTELPRO style. I know that's not what you said. COINTELPRO style. I always love reading Snow when when the word COINTELPRO comes up. I always read it as COINTELPRO. But I know what you meant. I'm just stupid, so I read it as COINTELPRO. Hey, what up, Dusty Lamborghini? Good to see you, man. Hey, it's not nefarious purposes only. They protect freedom. Now, but jokes aside, CIA is a mixed bag, but they do. I mean, they have a skill set, and that skill set can be, it's like any other tool or blunt instrument. You can use a shovel to, dig a garden, or you could bash someone in the head with a shovel. It's how you use the tool
Number
and
one
who's
had
using it.
failed, and they were told to ATO, or reject to orbit. Now, I am using the word reject instead of another word. Just bear with me, okay? ATO was a way to safely reject the launch. In this case, due to the engine failure, they would not be able to reach their intended orbit.
You guys get sound
and
from
the
here, right?
ATO allowed them to reach a safe,
I know
albeit
sometimes I
lower
forget to
orbit
play the
than
sound.
the
I forget
targeted
to
orbit.
share the sound.
This reject call
Oh
was
crap!
made
Wrong
based
button.
off of a flurry of activity at Houston. At the flight dynamics console, two people by the name of Brian Perry and Bruce Hilty had been poring over the ARD, or the Reject Region Determinator. It was a computer that gave them their reject options in the current phase of flight. A
I
person
bet
by
they
the
won't
name
be
of
using
Jenny
that to rescue people from the national forest anytime soon. Yeah, that's an interesting. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, Snow, and I do wonder. Well, one, it's like classified-ish military technology, right? But also, I do wonder if there are like how desolate is a U.S. national forest? Like we have areas that, like we have an area I think in Virginia where it's like you're not allowed to own a microwave unless it's specifically designed, because they have a radio observatory there. I think they run a SETI observatory there, search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Um, but it's an interesting point because I mean, if yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I wonder if if the radio frequency environment in the middle of the mountains of Iran is better or worse than the radio frequency environment in the middle of a national forest. Because I mean, the whole point of someone getting lost in the national forest is that they are lost in the national forest. It's like a big, desolate place. Now, remember the story of the girl who got lost in Hawaii? And I remember, like, there's some people, like, they were trying to say, like, leave it to a woman to get lost in, like, this small forest. And they had an interesting point because if you either follow the river or keep going in one direction, you'll eventually hit the coast of the island, So it was kind of an interesting story. It's kind of weird because, like, I mean, poor girl, like, she slept on the ground and the bugs would crawl on her. And then she started saying these hippy dippy things, like how, like, she was one with the nature and one with the bugs. And then she said that the river was calling her. I forget. I'm making up stuff now, but basically she was hearing voices or something like that. And I don't know. That's we should do a dive into that next week. Maybe we could like better
Howard
understand it.
monitored the engine parameters that were being beamed
So this
down
guy's gonna
from
show the
Challenger.
control panel on the
As her
shuttle in a
data
moment.
told her the bad news, Jenny Howard called center engine down on the flight director loop. Miles too far or attached to the shuttle would impact things. The map checked out, and they made the call to reject this launch and reach a safe lower orbit. And that's how Houston made the ATO call.
Hold on. I need to find a different video because this is not the video that that I was looking for. Man, I'm getting assaulted here with these videos down here. Look at this. It's like the Beavis and Butthead episode when the guy's like, Brenda is sexually harassing me. She's giving us stiffies. Sorry, it's a Beavis and Butthead impersonation. Oh, this is it. This is the good video. I'm not saying this is a bad video. This is a great video. This is a good video, I should say. I wouldn't say great, but it's a good video. This is a great video. Because this one here shows us the picture on the bottom right corner, and it gives you very good descriptive information about what they're doing. So let's bump that up to 1080p so we can actually read it. And I even have the ability to zoom in on it, apparently, too, which apparently I can only zoom in, I can't pan. Human tools are far more corruptible. King time, glad to be back. Oh, long time. I'm sorry, I misread that. I gotta get new glasses.
Center engine is down.
Challenger was the most watched thing in human history. Before 911, of course. But they traumatized the world with that thing. Yeah, I heard kids were watching that shit in school. I was in the womb at the time. We're still scheduled. Well, we're still scheduled to only reach Mars by 2033. See, I definitely don't think China will reach Mars in time for that or before that. And even us attempting to do that could be very, 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 very dangerous. I mean, Mars is no joke. Like, it's a very serious mission to go to Mars. Like, Like you'd think like going between Earth and the moon without the protective umbrella of the Earth's magnetic field is something, which it is something, but apparently not that bad. I'm surprised they're talking about the Lunar Gateway. I would think Lunar Gateway would be imperiled if there was a solar flare event or something like that. But I don't know. I got to do research on that. Maybe we'll talk to Reggie about that in a little while. Right, Reggie? Okay. Well, he can't hear me. I mean, he could hear me. We'll pretend he could hear me. Right, Reggie? All right. So anyway, I bet they wouldn't. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. I was misreading the chat. So anyway, let's go.
Hour, and they've been instructed to this speed for 6
Oh, it skipped to the part of the video I watched.
We are finally
That's the white room.
here at the Cape, and he instructed the LTD.
The white room is a room at the end of that. See that, like, truss at the top? There's a room called the white room up there. Well, I think they pulled it away already. I think it was, oh, this is the white room over here.
Picking up that count at 4:51, informing the flight in the cockpit. T-minus 2 minutes.
So,
And
there we go. They're
fuel
taking the
program
beanie
supplies have
off.
been terminated.
What does the Space Shuttle and Tim Pool have in common? They wear beanies. Okay, I'm sorry. It's corny, I know. They vent the hydrogen because the hydrogen, liquid hydrogen, one of the reasons why it's so challenging to work with, and probably a factor in why they didn't use it in the first stage of the Saturn V, is because as it gets to anything resembling room temperature, it boils off, and the tank isn't strong enough to hold that pressure. So you have to constantly vent it and add additional liquid hydrogen to the tank. You basically run it through a chilling, something that cools it down, like almost like a refrigerator or some kind of cooling unit, like a chiller. And you keep re-adding liquid hydrogen. You expect some of it to boil off, and then a few minutes before launch, you remove the beanie. And I think they still vent some of it. Okay, so let's see here. External tank liquid hydrogen pressurization. That's probably when they stop venting it. GLS, ground launch sequencer, verify. Space shuttle main engines ready to start. Sound suppression and water armed. So that's when they spray water deluge system under the rocket. It helps to absorb the sound waves of the vibrations that come from the engine. Vent doors to latch launch position. Auto sequence start, sound suppression, water start, go for a space shuttle main engine start, and then hydrogen igniters start. So that's because they have some, loose hydrogen floating around underneath the launch pad, so they want to kind of burn it away.
Is being retracted from the orbiter external tank tip at this time. Liquid hydrogen replenish has been terminated.
I was alive for it, and I watched it on television, and we were all traumatized, really. Yeah, I guess I can see that. I watched it when I was 5, 10 years old, and it was less traumatic for me to watch for some reason. I don't know if I was just detached or felt that things on TV are not real. I don't really know what mindset I had at the time, to be honest. I mean, I knew it was tragic. It was explained to me that people were watching their family members die and they cried, when they realized it. So I kind of understood the depth there, but I mean, I was watching a documentary on PBS, so I'm sure it was a bit sanitized. They wheeled the television in on the TV rack, plugged it in, turned it on, and set it to traumatize. And here we are today. It was very surreal when it blew up, and we were all just sitting there, and we couldn't believe it. The teachers wheeled the television out and were crying.
T-minus 1 minute, 38 seconds and counting. All systems are go.
I mean, I don't think it hurts to be exposed to, that, but at the same time, seeing it in real time, I think it's healthy to talk about these things, but yeah, seeing it in real time when you don't expect it, yeah, I can empathize.
Will verify that shuttle main engines are ready to...
We're going to skip ahead a little bit.
Shuttle 5, S10.
Okay, the water deluge, they're spraying water underneath, they're going to spray the sparks, the hydrogen ignites, the engines ignite, and this is super cool. We can watch this in slow motion, and then we'll get back on track here. Oh, look, does anyone want this in French audio by any chance? I got French, Italian, we can hear Italian. Beepity boppity. I'm sorry, I'm Italian, so I'm allowed to make fun of Italians, I guess. We're going to bring this to half speed.
T-minus.
I'm going to pause it. Okay, so there you go. You got ignition now. Watch in a second.
5.
You're going to see something interesting here. Oh, shit. You can see the engines wobble. That right there. So notice this, weird pressure front. So it's sort of like the surrounding atmospheric pressure pushing against the inside of the bell. And there's a whole bunch of physics behind that. Also, let's get Reggie up. I need Reggie. I need to talk to Reggie. I need to consult him. Hey Reggie, I forgot. Which of the two things, the space shuttle has liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. Which one is utilized for cooling the nozzles on the main engines of the space shuttle and of course in the recent SLS rocket launch? Is Reggie in instant mode? Yes, he is. Okay, good. Because I need him to be fast. I need you to be fast, Reggie. Hyperdrive mode. Engage. Okay, good. He's ready. Reggie is primed. Reggie is primed like a hot date. Okay, that's terrible. I'm sorry. My mind's in the gutter here. Well, I mean, it could mean all kinds of things. Maybe my mind's not in the gutter. Maybe that's a good thing I'm saying. But jokes aside, let me lower the volumes a little bit. I'm gonna adjust the volume. I'm wearing my bone conduction headphones today because look at these things. They're just so cool. Look how cool these headphones are, by the way. These are bone conduction headphones by Shocks. And they're probably like among the best bone conduction headphones you can get today. They do have one issue. They're very easy to blow out. This ear sometimes buzzes when doing bassy stuff. It's not terrible. It's obviously not the same level of quality I'd get out of a good set of Galaxy Buds or AKGs or my Sennheisers, but for bone conduction headphones, yeah, these are the best bone conduction headphones I've ever used. Let me just test the audio.
3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. We have liftoff of
Oh, yeah.
Challenger and Space Lab 2. The shuttle has cleared the tower. Tower clear.
They sound drunk. I'm tempted to switch to my regular headphones to give you guys the loudest possible sound, but we're going to see if we can YOLO this, alright? Lift off. Alright, hold on. I want to play this in super slow motion. I know we could probably get high-speed camera footage of this. There definitely is high-speed camera footage where they play it back at high speed. I mean, they record at high speed and they play it back at normal speed, and that gives you the effect of slow motion. Hey, what's up, Boris? Good to see you, man. We're checking out the space shuttle here. This is an abort to orbit scenario. This is
the cooling is done with liquid hydrogen ALAC. Why liquid hydrogen is used regenerative cooling. Hydrogen has very high specific heat capacity, so it can absorb a lot of heat. Very cold to begin with. Stored at about 250 Threck, giving it a huge temperature margin.
What you call me?
Low viscosity. It flows easily through the narrow cooling channels. What about liquid oxygen? It's fed more directly into the combustion chamber instead. Applies to both vehicles, space shuttle main engines. Then burn as fuel. That preheating step actually improves combustion efficiency as well.
I'm going to switch my headphones out real quick, guys, because I love these headphones, but I noticed an issue. If I lower the volume electronically, it lowers the volume for what you guys can hear. And instead of having a complex audio chain, I'm just going to use the analog knob on the actual sound interface because that's like the tried and true method of lowering the volume without disrupting what you guys hear. So hang tight for a second. We're going to rectify that. All right? All right, good. We got the sound back on this here, so that's good. I just got to make an adjustment. I can make adjustments on my end. But let's see what happens. And then you say... LCX says, I saw L say something just now about Nagi. Wait, I lost it. I lost L's message. Oh, here it is. Found a 1/6 scale toy gun on the ground. Perfect for Nagi. Yo, do you have? Are you putting that picture in Discord, L? I mean, I'll show it on stream if you got it. I mean, or if you post it on your channel, I'll show it. You know, I think it'd be cool to show. And you know, it would satisfy our curiosity about what Nagi is up to. Was Nagi's birthday recently, by the way, or was that months ago? I remember I saw an old post maybe where you were mentioning it was Nagi Senizan's birthday. All right, let's verify the audio real quick, and then we'll be off to the races. Okay, I gotta switch Reggie's voice to my headphones, which there's got to be a better way. I wish I had like more sound outputs. I'm trying to think here. We're not gonna worry about that right now. Just gonna output the audio to my headphones. That's all I gotta do. Don't need to be too complex about it, right? Let's verify. So Reggie answered the question. These pipes around the engine, they circulate liquid hydrogen, and the liquid hydrogen is super cooled, so it cools down the bell, and so when it does get hot, it doesn't melt. And they actually take that liquid hydrogen that's been heated up in the act of cooling down the nozzle, the liquid hydrogen coolant gets heated up, and they recirculate it back into the combustion chamber. So it ends up, working better, basically. I mean, I'm not fully versed in the physics. I'm not a rocket engineer, but as I understand it, there is an advantage to preheating something like that. Well, at the very least, you're not wasting it. Because the alternative would be to ignite the liquid hydrogen and just vent it overboard. So that's like a thing that they do. Also with these rockets, they have pumps that pump the fuel from the tank into the engine combustion chamber. And on some rockets, you'll see a separate exhaust pipe off to the side. And that's obviously going to be wasting some of the fuel to power that pump. But if you could take the exhaust from that pump and recirculate, or if you could take the, whatever you're using to run that pump and recirculate it, sometimes you can imbue some advantage where you mix it. On the Saturn V rocket, they actually have a turbine exhaust that's in the middle of the exhaust bell. And you'll see when the Saturn V is taken off, you'll see black smoke coming out the side, and it doesn't turn bright orange until underneath somewhere down here. They actually use 1,000-degree exhaust because it lines the walls of the bell, and 1,000 degrees is colder than 4,000 degrees, for example. So ultimately, it counts as a cooling, or at least it protects you use a less hot exhaust to protect the nozzle from the even hotter exhaust. But bottom line is, liquid hydrogen is the answer I was looking for. Thanks, Reggie. All right, let's go. Oh, I gotta hit the sound button again. I gotta do one more switcherino here, and then we'll get on to Artemis. I know I'm dragging my heels talking about Artemis so far. I apologize. Test Reggie. Reggie, give me a sound check.
The cooling is done with liquid hydrogen ALAC. Why liquid hydrogen is used regenerative cooling. Hydrogen has very high specific heat capacity, so it can absorb a lot of heat. Very cold to begin with. Stored at about 250 Threck, giving it a huge temp.
Whoa, Reggie, watch your language there, buddy.
5, 4.
Oh, good. 4. I'm sorry, I love slow motion. Yo, look how cool that is. You can see this ring forming, and there's actually a cone shape that you can see on more modern cameras. Like, I think on the Artemis launch, you can see this fine cone.
3.
And then the bells actually wobble, like when they ignite, they actually get in some of the high-speed footage, you see the bell doing this.
1.
Okay, I'm gonna put it back to normal speed before we go crazy.
Ignition and liftoff. We have liftoff. Challenger in Space Lab 2. The shuttle has
I'm sorry, I just love how funny it sounds when they repeat themselves. We have liftoff. We have liftoff.
The tower.
I think Arvis is live right now, and he's watching my show. I appreciate that.
Liftoff.
Hello to Arvis218's audience. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening tonight. We're going to be looking at pictures of the Artemis launch tonight. If Arvis tunes back to playing a video game, I would invite you to tune in at a later time. I will drop a link to this stream replay after the stream is over. So I will certainly share that specific link so you guys can watch it, after Arvis's show is over, or tomorrow, or at your convenience.
Off of Challenger in Space Lab 2.
I always love watching this part of the schedule.
Ignition and liftoff.
It looks like it's moving sideways, right?
Challenger in Space.
See how it's actually going which way is it going? I think it's going. Yeah, it's going this way. So it goes because the thrust is coming out of the white guy here, or at least a ton of the thrust is coming out at an angle from the shuttle orbiter, and of course the boosters account for like a crap ton of it.
Space Lab 2, the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Tower clear.
Roger, liftoff.
Roll program initiated.
Challenger.
Houston now controlling. They'll be throttling down to
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Oh, so
Now
this guy's showing
at,
computer generated
65
imagery up here. He's showing max Q is when it's about to go supersonic. Throttle up is after max Q. And there's going to be some information up here. Abort options. Let me see if we can read this. A single engine failure during the first stage would result in declaration of a return to launch site abort after solid rocket booster separation. In this case, the return to launch site abort RTLS would be initiated at 2 minutes and 30 seconds Met. I don't know what Met means. I guess they're Mets fans. Go Mets. A 2 or 3 engine failure during the first stage would result in a contingency abort. From STS-5 to STS-51L, I think that was contingency abort procedures ended with an orbiter ditching. No ejection system available. Yeah, so basically, for the first couple of space shuttle missions, they had ejection seats. I think they only had ejection seats for the pilot and pilot in command. You got a pilot, you got a pick pilot in command, and you got a pilot. Because, you know, when you work so hard to become an astronaut, you don't want to be a co-pilot, you know? I think a fly flew into my nose.
now at 65%.
Okay, all clear.
Velocity now 1,000 feet per second. Distance downrange 2 nautical miles. Altitude 4.1.
4.1. It looks a lot higher than 4.1 altitude. Got a panel up elsewhere. You are betraying me, DJ Play Nice. Where are you paneling up? Promote the channel. Jokes aside, seriously, feel free to tell us the name of the channel. I'll go find a link and share it at some point. If there's someone cool, I certainly would share. But no, have a good time wherever you're going. And if I know the name of the channel, maybe I'll tune in during the stream. And maybe I'll just keep you on in the background, or I'll put you on my Chromecast. You know? Get those watch hours up. But no, jokes aside, have a good time. DJ Play Nice, thanks for hanging out. Always a pleasure, good sir. Reload the show when it ends. Yes, I wholeheartedly concur with that. And you guys should watch it twice. If you have kids in a baby crib, you should have them watch it. It will be educational. They won't pick up any profanity because I don't speak clearly enough for them to be able to comprehend the profanity I use, right? I don't know. I'm just messing around.
Challenger Houston, your go at throttle up.
Hey, go
Engines now
at
back
throttle
up
up.
to 104%.
So I think he's gonna.
Pretty good.
I hope this is the one. This might not be the video I thought it was. Okay, so now the SRBs are about to burn out. So far, so good.
That call a precursor to SRB separation. Standing by for SRB set.
All right, SRB separation, just like two Hollywood actors having a divorce, except it's more like a
Good SRB set
I don't know.
confirmed.
polygamy.
2 minutes, 22 seconds now at 4,500 feet per second in velocity.
And we played this last week, but if you guys want to see a video of this part doing this, let me know. Like a real video of
Downrange, 46.
it looks super cool when you see the camera angle from the solid rocket booster. Yeah, when you see the solid rocket booster camera angle, this looks super. I think it looks super cool because the tank is so incongruously large compared to the orbiter, and I don't know.
Nautical miles.
It just looks cool. Okay, so
Challenger Houston, first stage performance low.
okay, so there we go. First stage performance low. So they already noticed they are having an issue here.
That call gives the crew.
An engine
That call
issue.
gives the crew throttling information.
Okay, so we got some text in the corner here. Transoceanic abort landing. Now that's a cool one. This abort option would have been employed if the space shuttle main engines were lost at specific points in the boost phase. External tank separation would have occurred, and the orbiter would have landed on runways in either Europe or Africa. And then ATO is where we're about to enter that phase. I think right now we're still in the RTLS section of the flight. So in theory, they could try to do an RTLS, but I think they're going to say screw that. You can see that the abort to orbit and transoceanic landing abort, transoceanic abort landing, they overlap. In fact, even TAL and RTLS overlap too. And then ATO, obviously overlaps with TAL. And then it comes to a point where you can only do ATO. But if you're this far along when you need to abort, you're already pretty much in a good situation. So you can totally do that. Lady Mist, have a good night. And thank you for tuning in and hanging out. I hope you have a great shift at work. And thank you. I think Turtle is cool too. Let's get a picture of a turtle real quick. Hey, Poffy, how you doing, sweetheart? I mean, this is a documentary footage of my beloved Poffy here. But she's a good girl. I mean, she's being bad here, but that's why we filmed it. All right, back. Oh, whoa, we got 2 Reggies here. Whoa. Okay, there we go. That was close. I thought it was Skynet.
Velocity now 5,100 feet per second. The rate of climb 1,400 feet per second.
Challenger Houston, 2-engine TAL capability.
Okay, 2-engine. Now they have the option to do transatlantic abort.
The capability to make a Zaragoza, Spain, transatlantic abort should one engine fail.
Okay, so right now they don't yet have an engine failure, but they are, indicating that if they did lose one engine, that TAL is an option.
Three minutes, 16 seconds. Distance downrange, 80 nautical miles.
Return status. Fido, go. Booster, go. Prop, go. Go.
Return status now being discussed in the MOCR. All systems are go.
Now they have to do another one of those go things in a moment when they talk about doing a abort to orbit. They're going to have everyone at Mission Control who is responsible for some aspect of that has to, confirm it. Are we go? Or
3 minutes, 45 seconds.
Interfere with our ability
now
to
110 nautical miles downrange, velocity 6,600 feet per second.
Hey, what's up, Ghost Pet Shop? Good to see you, man. Ghost Pet Shop has a channel too, I believe.
Challenger Houston, negative return.
Negative return. Yeah, Ghost Pet Shop has
call
a channel.
indicates a return to launch site abort no longer possible.
And booster flight.
Oh crap! The video is not playing. I'm sorry. There we go. We got the video back. Sorry. But yeah, check out Ghost Pet Shop if you want. He plays
4
a lot
minutes,
of
18
Bioshock
seconds.
lately.
Now
I
147
should watch
nautical miles
that because
downrange.
I need to learn if Bioshock is the game for me. I've been told it's a pretty good game. And do I have the bell? Yes, I do have the bell selected on. Oh my god, he's got memberships. Yo, Ghost Pet Shop. How the fuck? I mean, obviously you must be more consistent than me at streaming because you got like a stream from an hour ago, you got a stream 7 days ago, you got a stream 4 days ago. So maybe I could get like 1,000 subscribers and memberships if I just did a second thing every week, like an upload or a stream. But good shit, man. It's pretty cool. Help me hit 1,500 subscribers. There we go. Help Ghost Pet Shop hit 1,500 subscribers. I hereby request anybody and everybody to subscribe in today's chat, especially if you like Bioshock. Now that's pretty cool. You can see the engines glowing. Obviously, it's a visualization. You can also see the body flap. The body flap, this got damaged during the first space shuttle launch, and if they knew it was damaged, they would have done a eject. They would have ejected over the ocean, but they didn't know, and they still managed to land it, and then they realized after landing, like, oh, shit. That's the thing about NASA safety culture. They learned a few times that, like, oh, when we had close calls that didn't get disastrous, and that may have made them cocky at times, but then I think they also realized, like, between Challenger and Columbia that don't F around. Plus, it's a PR nightmare. Alright, so I want the...
ATO.
14 nautical miles downrange.
ATO.
This is not
Press
the
to
video.
ATO.
This is
Fuel
not the
should
video.
an
This is not the
APU's
video.
reported looking good. 3 fuel cells up and running.
Wait, is this the video? Let's see.
5 minutes, 36 seconds.
No, I think they're just saying that, okay, all they're saying is that they have the option to do ATO. I think they have to hit a button on the computer so that Space Shuttle's onboard computer knows that they are able to do that option. The computer can do certain things
58
automatically.
nautical miles, distance downrange,
Like, for example, you'll hear in a
275
moment.
nautical miles, velocity 11,000 feet per second.
Oh, there we go. So the computer shut off an engine.
Nautical miles.
So if you see here, this engine's going to go out. And what they don't explain here, but I maybe I'll find the other video, a piece of ice basically made a hole in the inside of the engine, but it's not solid. It's got like thin walls in it, right? So because of that, the liquid hydrogen or liquid oxygen was burning at a more prodigious rate. I think it was liquid hydrogen. So, you know, bottom line is you don't have the same amount of fuel left. If that engine doesn't turn off, they'll run out of fuel early. So the computer makes the decision to turn off that engine. And then after that, they got to decide, do we want to suppress the computer from turning off of the engines?
Velocity 11,000 feet per second.
There we go.
Read copy, stand by.
Flight Fido aboard ATO. Aboard ATO.
We have a center engine down.
Abort ATO. Abort ATO.
See how quickly they act? They're like all like on the same page. They're like, all right, you know, do we do an abort to ATO? Yeah, abort ATO, go. Yeah, okay, cool, go, let's go. And then they do it. What do you mean me, Raid? You have a show? You have a show? You have a channel? You do stuff? You do content? I'm pissed off I didn't know that you do content. Oh, you're pulling my leg. Okay. Your last upload is 3 years ago. You had me pumped for a second. I mean, I'm still excited to have you here. What's up, awesome one? Good to see you, man. No, that's tomorrow, I think, around 8 p.m.
Mission Control, Houston,
Eastern
we have
time.
a center engine down on the Challenger.
Okay, so
Abort.
they're going to hit
Center engine down.
Abort
They're gonna hit a
ATO. Abort
button.
ATO.
So here we are. So abort panel switch move from off to ATO. So this tells the computer what mode to, you know, continue operating in. Because the computer, you know, has a series of pre-programmed events, but it has to be in the right mode to follow the events that you need it to follow, right? So they flip that switch on the
Mission Control,
dashboard,
Houston, we
the instrument panel. That's what they call a dashboard in airplanes. Then the abort panel switch moved from off to ATO is over here, and a button is pressed that starts auto OMS dump. This is cool, which assists with velocity and stability heading to MECO, and stability heading to main engine cutoff. So the OMS pods are up here. So actually you see when the guy presses this button,
have
you
a set.
see these engines light up here. So these are OMSs. So on the Space Shuttle, these three engines, they only work while attached to the big brown fuel tank, or orange, depending on if you're colorblind or not. But when that tank is gone, the only reason these engines are still here is so that they can bring them back down and use them again. They do nothing in orbit once that tank is gone. For everything else, the OMS pods up here, these allow them to boost to a higher orbit. So when they service the Hubble Space Telescope, they do run those engines for like a couple of extra minutes to get to a higher orbit. They run on peroxide, basically. So it's basically a pure peroxide or almost pure peroxide. And when you mix it with something else, like an oxidizer, I guess, it ignites instantly. Like basically, it's like the simplest fuel is the type where like the oxidizer and fuel, they mix and they immediately ignite. Sort of like the movie Die Hard with a Vengeance, when the guy takes that drop of the chemical and it blows up, like when he mixes the two chemicals together. It's the same principle. So now the guys that hit the button,
ATO.
now they're burning the OMS. And this also, sometimes if they have to land, they do this too in order to shed weight.
To abort to orbit.
Okay, so now they got the OMS pods running, and they're down two engines, but they're using OMS pods, I guess.
Center engine down and stable. The
No
two
alternative.
engines are up and running, and they're stable. The center engine is down. Crew has been instructed to abort to orbit. We're now at 6 minutes, 27 seconds.
So this is your orbital trajectory here. And basically, a rocket is a cannonball, except, you know, while you might shoot a cannonball up and it'll eventually come up and come back down and hit the ground, a rocket moves fast enough that even though gravity still tries to pull it down, it constantly misses the horizon. So it's kind of an interesting balancing act where you're using gravity to keep your speed up. Initially, you're using your engines to get your speed up. And I don't know, you just keep missing the ground, and that's orbit.
Mission elapsed time.
But essentially, they intended to go to a different orbital altitude, but now their goal is to get into a ATO orbit. So basically, like, they still conduct the same mission. They just
Altitude
ended up in a
58
different
nautical
orbit.
miles.
They couldn't go as
Distance
high
downrange
up.
375 nautical miles.
Oh, here we
Roger
go.
that, and main engine limits to enable, Gordon.
Okay, in this position, any remaining active space shuttle main engine can be shut down automatically by the computer if it goes beyond the red line values. So, basically limit to enable. So what is it on right now? Engine shut down on enable. I think they put it on inhibit. So hold on. In this position, any main engine can be shut down automatically by the computer if it goes beyond red line values.
Okay.
So I think they were
Main
going
engine
to
cutoff
inhibit
time
and they
now
turned
at an
off
MET
inhibit.
of 9. Main engine cutoff time now at an MET of 9 minutes 41 seconds.
So I think they wanted to prevent the engines from cutting off automatically, and now they don't have to.
Crew can still get to Zaragoza should they lose another engine. However, we still have 2 stable space shuttle main engines. Center engine is down, however, and they've been instructed to this point to abort to orbit. Their velocity now 15,700 feet per second. Altitude 50.
Well, that's basically it.
Proper main engine cutoff constraints for this case. Confirm ET set.
And they lived happily ever after. But seriously, I was looking for a very specific video where a guy did a really good job of explaining it better than anybody.
Now 2 per second. Now 15,700 feet per second.
This is
We have a go for auto sequence start.
This is the story of Challenger RD, or the Reject Region Determinator. It could now land in Europe, and they made the call. The ATO allowed them to reach a safe, albeit lower orbit than the targeted orbit. This reject call was made based off of a flurry of activity at Houston. At the Flight Dynamics console, 2 people by the name of Brian Perry and Bruce Hilty had been poring over the ARD, or the Reject Region Determinator. It was a computer that gave them their reject options in the current phase of flight. A person by the name of Jenny Howard monitored the engine parameters that were being beamed down from Challenger. As her data told her the bad news, Jenny Howard called "Center engine down" on the flight director loop. Focus was now on Perry and Bruce. They now had to make the all-important decision on what to do. Challenger at this point was at an altitude of 58 nautical miles, and the downrange distance was 275 nautical miles. Brian Perry and his flight dynamics team had to run some calculations to reach a safe lower orbit, and that's how Houston made the ATO call. Once the shuttle crew got the ATO command from Houston,
this guy's gonna more eloquently explain. This is specifically the part of the video of this guy that I wanted you guys.
Gordon Fullerton turned a rotary dial in the cockpit to the ATO setting. The shuttle responded by powering up the OMS, or the Orbital Maneuvering System. They're small thrusters on the space shuttle that are used to maneuver in space. The OMS thrusters started burning about 4,400 pounds or 2,000 kilos of fuel. This provided a negligible amount of thrust to the vehicle, but it did make the shuttle considerably lighter. All of this, from the engine failing to them realizing that the engine had failed, to them doing the math and then dumping the OMS fuel, all of this was done in 25 seconds. Absolutely amazing. 7 minutes into the flight, the shuttle gained TAL capability, meaning that it could now land in Europe. But no one had experienced this before on a real mission. Sure, or a certain type of warning message from the engines. We'll discuss this in 25 the future. Say, rocket engines need oxidizers to supplement their fuel because there's no oxygen in space. The simplest rocket engine is just a fuel tank and an oxidizer tank with some pressurizing gas and an engine.
Melly Mac, go boom. I mean, oxidizer and fuel, go boom.
The fuel and the oxidizer mix, and the whole thing ignites, and boom, you...
Yo, what's up with Melanie Mack? Is she doing videos again? I see this. She's now like turned into a Crayola-haired Christian girl instead of just a brunette Christian girl, and she does videos now.
have thrust. These
I
kinds
thought
of
she stopped after she said the F word really loud or something. Something happened to her, right? And she stopped doing videos, and I wanted to get her on my show because anytime someone has a fall from grace, I believe that they should be on my show because, like, how cool would it be to get someone who's not popular and have them on your show? Like, someone who's a pariah. Like, that's got to be, like, good controversial, clicks,
engines are very reliable. For example, the ascent stage of the Apollo lunar lander used such an engine because these pumps of fuel and
Here we
oxidizer
are. This is
on
cool.
smaller engines like Rocket Lab's Rutherford engines, the exhaust turns a turbine, which in turn drives the turbine.
So, see, it uses the liquid hydrogen, pumps the liquid hydrogen, it pre-burns some of it, mixes it with the oxygen, puts it in the combustion chamber pre-burned. It takes other liquid hydrogen, or the main line, and it goes into the, cooling tubes, and then it ends up back up here after being preheated, and it goes into the combustion chamber. And, of course, there's another pump that pumps the liquid oxygen down here and into the combustion chamber. Now, what does the pre-burner do? I forgot. I think the pre-burner makes the turbine go. I think that's what it does. Yeah, I think the pre-burner makes the turbine go, and I don't know where the exhaust goes. I'm assuming I think the exhaust gets cycled back into the combustion chamber as well. So nothing gets wasted is basically the gist of it.
Turbo pumps. The problem with this engine is that you're burning a little bit of fuel to drive the turbo pumps, and that's not translating into thrust. So now what you can do is to take that exhaust and route it into the combustion chamber. But that throws the pressures in the pre-burner out of balance, and it stresses the engine greatly. To get over this issue, they decided to have not one, but two pre-burners. One pre-burner for the fuel loop and one for the oxidizer loop. In the schematic of the RS-25 engines used on the space shuttle, you can see that there's a fuel pre-burner and an oxidizer pre-burner. So now you have a fuel pre-burner driving a fuel turbo.
Her husband was being canceled, so now everyone has been on her side as of late. Thank you for the Melanie Mack update, awesome one. That makes sense.
Pump.
I mean, it makes sense insofar as things can make sense in things that don't matter. But I did bring it up, and I mean, what I mean, they don't matter. Like, it's like, who cares what happens to any of these fucks? Pardon my language. But at the same time, that does clear up the question. Thank you.
And an oxidizer pre-burner driving an oxidizer turbo pump. The RS-25 engine, two platinum wires are used to measure the temperature of the fuel pump. A computer measured the resistance of the wire each second. The hotter the wire was, the higher the resistance. So from this information, the computer could calculate the temperature.
He's a professional cosplayer. I didn't even know you could be a professional cosplayer. What is that called? An actor? No, I'm kidding. I get it. You could be a professional cosplayer. I get it. You go to conventions and you show people how good your cosplay is or something like that, right?
Of the turbo pump. Each engine had two of these temperature sensors, making for 6 in total on the shuttle. Engine number 1. When the space shuttle approached Europe, they needed both of those engines to work flawlessly to reach the safety of orbit. Soon, a temperature sensor failed in engine number 3, and the backup sensor was reading dangerously hot. This was the failure of engine number 1 all over again. This is when Jenny Howard made the call, flight limits to inhibit. She's basically asking the computers to ignore the data from the sensors and to just keep the engines running. When she made that call, they could not make it to Europe and ditch the external fuel tank safely. At that point, they needed both engines because reaching orbit was the only option that they had. I previously called this a gamble, and it really was. The reason for all of these sensors and computers is so that the computer can shut the engine down as fast as possible so that it does not catastrophically explode if something goes wrong. With those protections gone, a person on the ground now had to monitor the data and call for an engine shutdown as fast as a computer would. So why not just ditch the external fuel tank and land in Europe? A TAL was an option of last resort because it was so dangerous. If you had the option of reaching orbit, that was the way to go. Secondly,
Way to
you couldn't
go.
just jettison the external fuel tank because the tank fed the engines on the shuttle. And since only 2 engines were running, they'd need to keep those engines running for
Oh, look, the
longer.
early flight suit.
Lastly, the engine
That's the
failure
flight suit they
moved
wore
things
before
around a
Challenger.
bit. Since you could
Or
not jettison the
until
tank
Challenger.
at the point that you usually would, you'd have to wait till it was safe to do so. If you had jettisoned the tank at a random point of the flight, you ran the risk of it falling in a population center. So really, jettisoning the external tank early was out of the question. In the end, they found out.
Come on, they would totally dump the fuel tank over a population center in China. Well, not a population center. They would dump it over a village, not any population center. Like, I'm sure they wouldn't dump a fuel tank over Shanghai, right? That would be kind of bad.
That the sensors had failed and that
This is the I think this is either the Edward. This might be Edwards Air Force Base or one of the desert salt flats.
the engines themselves were fine. NASA decided to build a more. This was the only time I think the
apparently,
action she took.
This is not the one where there was a hole in the engine. So maybe we'll save that for next week. I will find a video.
We have a go.
'cause I was looking for one where a piece of ice. Let's ask Reggie which one. Hey Reggie, which space shuttle mission was it where a piece of ice made a hole inside one of the engine nozzles and caused them to cut the engine? I thought that was STS-51F, but I'm not sure because the video I just saw, instead of the guy showing that, he talked about something about a wire that measures the temperature. And yeah. So, do you remember, Reggie, which one of that was by any chance? It's weird to think of Artemis as a test flight. Well, that's every space shuttle mission was sort of a test flight. The entire program was a test. And they constantly, because every time they make a refinement to the craft, even if everything's been tested on the ground, it counts as a test until it's actually been flown. And now, don't get me wrong, they do have things that are flight ready, or what's the term, flight certified. I don't know. They have fancy terminology, but typically everything is pretty well vetted, except when a piece of foam strikes the wing and they, don't do anything about it. Everything is a test. Now, I love when people question why are we going to the moon again. We already went there. It's like saying, we built a new airplane. Why are we testing this new airplane? We already built airplanes. It's like, well, when it's like, I don't know. It's just like kind of funny. Cool. I'm glad you enjoy space stuff, Ghost Pet Shop. Rockets are cool. It's amazing how you go from ballistic missiles to rockets, but the science behind both overlap, and some of the work done in the early Minuteman missile program, and literally, it was a Nazi rocket, the V2, that led to us getting von Braun working at NASA, and that was the man who designed the Saturn V, and had some pretty interesting ideas, and came up with these in a time when the technology was not what we have today. Oops, what did I just click? Let's try
We have a go for auto sequence start.
Altitude main engine cutoff time now at an MET of 9 minutes 41 seconds.
April 12th,
Oh, here we are.
1981.
Hello, it's Scott Manley here. This is Space Shuttle Atlantis STS-37
Oh, you're loud,
back
Scott.
in 1991. And this is kind of a follow-up to my previous launch for all sorts of
Oh,
wins
no,
for
this
all
is not it.
this. But in the whole
Okay, let's get to Artemis now, guys. I've made you wait long enough. What do you think of my thumbnail? I used Artemis the cat from Sailor Moon today to as a thumbnail. I used 2 Artemises. Ooh, a Facebook page. Okay, I gotta check this. I'm gonna click this link without showing the screen to make sure it's safe. Okay, it looks safe. Oh, this is safe. I mean, this is not entirely safe. I'm kidding. It's safe. This guy's fucking jacked, by the way. Yo, Victor Glover, I believe he's a Victor Glover Jr., but they keep calling him Victor Glover. This guy is jacked. Like, I want his workout plan. Like, whatever he's doing, man, I want in. Like, geez, like, he just inspires me, man. Like, I just want to pump iron at my desk right now, man. Like, I just want to, freaking do this, man, and do some curls, which are a little difficult in this seated position right now. But, man, it's like keep snagging on my wire, but Yeah, I got it. Like, man, that guy makes me want to pump iron. That guy makes me want to pump iron. Snap into a Slim Jim. Something like that. Okay, let's. No, I didn't go G. I'm just saying, like, I want to be jacked like that because, like, come on, man, I got to build that muscle mass. You know what I mean? Like, it's like good to be tough. Okay, like you want to get into a bar fight with that guy? Not unless you work out like him. Then maybe you have a chance. But jokes aside, let's keep rolling here. What does it say? La Ducha Espacial de un astronauta suscita dudas. Oh, they say dudes in Spanish. Desde el control. So, okay. They're doing something special. And it's involving the astronauts. And they are doing something that controls something. No, but one thing I found interesting about Artemis was this cargo net. Like, they have all their crap. DJ needs muscles to hold his puppet. I don't have a puppet. I have Reggie. But if yo, dude, I mounted a microphone to Reggie's head a while ago as an experiment to see if it would be better. He's like, when not Reggie, Petey, not Reggie. When I'm dressed up as Petey, how do I talk into this microphone over here? Like, I'm wearing a box in my head. So the problem is if I put the microphone down here, I could bump into it. So my idea was clip this to Petey's head like this. And I think I need I need to make a mount. Okay, I just dropped something that might be important. But anyway, if I had a mounting bracket, I could probably find a way to do this. Maybe I could use the threaded hole here for the mount and make a mounting piece on Reggie that I could screw on with like a nut. But what was my point? Well, that's a real issue I encountered. But when I put this on Petey's head, the head was heavy on one side, and it isn't a lot of weight, but I had to tilt my head more, and it was starting to give me some neck strain. So what are we watching here? Okay, I'm just commenting about the guy because he is shirtless. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Let's just see what Reggie says about this. Also, did Reggie ask? I asked Reggie a different question. Reggie, about STS-51F, which engine, which shuttle did what?
You're mixing two different events, and your instinct about STS-51F is actually half right. The one you're thinking of engine shutdown STS-51F 1985. This is the famous in-flight main engine shutdown RSL's abort-to-orbit case. Cause: a faulty temperature sensor wiring issue on one of the RS-25 engines. The system thought the engine was overheating automatic shutdown. The shuttle still made orbit using a backup abort-to-orbit profile. The ice damage to nozzle. What did happen? Closest real engine damage scenario. There were engine anomalies and damage concerns, but no confirmed case of ice physically breaching a nozzle. The RS-25 nozzle is regeneratively cooled and fairly robust. A true burn-through would more likely come from cooling failure, not impact. Bottom line, you correctly remembered STS-51F, but that was a sensor wiring false reading. Not physical damage. The ice punched a hole in the nozzle story is likely. A misremembered debris incident, or a simplified incorrect retelling. If you want, I can pull up the exact clip you saw and identify what they were actually describing. It sounds like a common case of two incidents getting blended together.
I think they updated the orbital trajectory a little bit for the landing. So this is Orion on its way back. And it's going to be coming in. It's going to be the fastest object moving. Like, literally the fastest object. Astronaut space shower raises down from microwave. What? Well, I think what they're saying is, so you know how astronaut shower. My mom had this product. It was like waterless soap. So if you're disabled or something, it's like a product like that you can use without water. And if you're really thorough, it works. Like, you can literally use it without water to wash yourself. And I remember the bottle my mom had. I gave it to my friend's mom because my friend's mom was sick after my mom passed away, and it has a picture of a space shuttle on it, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, it was one of those products that was invented for the space program that ended up helping people who are disabled. And this is not like the only benefit of the space program, but it is a worthwhile thing to mention, like Velcro. It's a simple one, though. I mean, I'm not going to say Velcro is a game changer, but it's a game changer when you have dexterity issues. Oh, great. I got to translate Russian now, too. We're going to do it. We're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. Because I'm not even going to pretend to read that. This is all Masonic conspiracy. Here is the proof. Oh, that's where we're going today? Come on, man. It's not all Masonic conspiracy. Just some of it. I mean, yeah, you're going to have some dude with a crazy tattoo. And also, are the Masons the good guys or the bad guys? I honestly don't know. I don't even want to go there right now, but maybe one day we'll try to do a nuanced deep dive into it, you know? I'm not opposed to it. I just, like, even if it was a Masonic conspiracy, they built the rocket works, you know, it will potentially get us closer to a future where we can inhabit other bodies in space. And look, if the Earth gets asteroided out, you're going to be glad. Well, maybe you won't be glad, but whoever gets to live elsewhere might be glad. Then again, I imagine living on a new planet after Earth gets destroyed. Hopefully it doesn't. Okay. Maybe he's a biker. I don't know. I mean, that's the goat. This is not a goat. This is straight up Satan here. So this is not a Masonic goat. This is Satan too. I'm just kidding. I don't know what this is, to be honest. Let's ask Reggie. Now I know Reggie, if he's in on the conspiracy too, he's not gonna, be able to help us out with this, right? But I'm interested in the engineering of this stuff,
This is the story of the space shuttle.
It's radiation, probably not microwave. Ah. Oh, okay. So maybe that video. Thank you. So maybe that helps. Thanks. Let's get that video back because damn it, I clicked on channel activity. Sorry. There we go. Got it. Okay. So let's see if we can interpret this now that we know what it's saying. So, hey Reggie, thanks. I know what video it is now. I just needed the right space shuttle mission. Real quick. I believe this is about a Masonic conspiracy. That's basically what it says. NASA Masonic conspiracy. It's insinuating that. Oh no, this is what basically there's a guy putting something in the like I think he's putting MREs or space food inside the pocket on Victor Glover's launch escape suit, whatever they call it, a big orange safety suit. And the guy had a tattoo on his hand that you can see in the right half of this picture. And in this picture, they're comparing it to the satanic goat, I guess. What is that, Baphomet? I used to be on an IRC server called Baphomet. They were pretty wild over there. It was more of a troll thing than it was a satanic thing. But anyway, what is the guy on the right? What is the tattoo on the right side of the picture? Is it actually comparable to the satanic goat? Or is it something else? I mean, frankly, I think the goat looks less satanic than the one on the right, except that I do recognize the goat on the left as being in some weird satanic art. The one on the right looks like something that a biker would wear, but he does have triangles on his fingers, so yeah, I get it. Angles and Masons, right? But elucidate us, if you will, unless you're in on the conspiracy as well. I'm trolling Reggie. So, back on topic here. Let's get to the other video. Oh yeah, we have that video. So I forgot what the translation was already, so we're gonna just get it back. Oh yeah, I never finished the video. I'm sorry. Ball. Oh, that's Ball. He was on Stargate. Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z. I'm sorry, I had this song stuck in my head. Okay, so don't care about these people. Don't know what's on their thing or what it has to do with Masons, but like, I guess we could look at what was the all-female Blue Origin mission name. Okay, NS-31. So NS-31 patch. What's so Masonic about it? It looks like a little bit. It looks like a bell. Is it a satanic bell? And even if it was, like, this is not NASA. This is Jeff Bezos, and he's a weirdo, right? So I'm not really married to the notion. Oh wow, Katy Perry looks kind of cute in that picture. Anyway, let's see if we can identify anything here. I mean, I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with this one. Biggest thing I see wrong with it is it doesn't look anything like the rocket. Oh, I guess it does because that's the rocket when it lands. This is the booster that lands. So the upper part like lands on a parachute in the desert, and then the bottom part lands so that they can refuel it and reuse it to launch satellites or for another manned flight. Although Blue Origin has a different approach to these things. So, okay, so back to this picture. So we wanted to know what it says, right? So let's do this. So not this picture. Wait, I need to get the other picture. I'm sorry. Because I want to know what it said about the microwave. Because like you said, awesome one, it's probably got to do with the radiation. Astronaut space shuttle raises doubts from radiation. Okay, why? I mean, definitely if you want to elucidate on that more useless guy, that's the name. I'm not making jokes. Definitely do. But I don't see any issue here. I just see Glover taking off his shirt and maybe getting ready to scrub down or something like that. Where's the lady astronaut? Is she checking him out? Christina Cook. There she is. She's sideways right now. They kind of like their own personal bubbles. That's kind of cool.
Atlantis, on December 1988, were ready to receive the space shuttle, just in case she needed to make an emergency landing should something go wrong. At 9:30 a.m. EST, the main engines were lit, and Atlantis started its journey to space. The launch went off without a hitch, and the astronauts got to work. They used the space shuttle's
Oh yeah, we got to see what Reggie has to say about that.
robotic arm to deploy the top-secret satellite. But something went wrong.
No, they don't change their shirts. She was eating. She was drinking food out of a straw.
And the crew had to do a secret spacewalk to fix the issue. But the satellite was away, and that was the end of that. On the 3rd of December 1988, the crew awoke to some troubling news. Their launch had not been as perfect as they had thought. Review of the launch footage had shown that a bit of the insulator on the right-hand solid rocket booster had broken away, and the footage also showed the debris impacting the fragile thermal protection system of Atlantis. If the heat shield was significantly damaged, there was no way that Atlantis would survive the fire, but they had no idea damage.
This wasn't the same. This is a
The
different
loss
mission.
of
So Reggie gave me the wrong mission too.
images, limited quality windows. See what he could do. She began her deorbit burn. They were aiming for the runway at Edwards Air Force Base. As Atlantis began to hit the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, everyone monitored the data coming in. They did not have access to a combination of an elevator and an aileron. It's on the trailing edge of the elevons. On a normal landing, you'd barely see the elevons being trimmed. So, Gibson decided that if he saw more than 0.25 degrees of trim, then he'd tell NASA exactly what he thought of their analysis. At that point, as soon as
this was a mission where they lost a tile, and the reason the shuttle didn't break up was because have a good stream, Morris. The reason the shuttle didn't break up was because there was a UHF antenna underneath the tile, so it basically like acted like a heat shield. Pretty interesting coincidence. There's also another.
The space shuttle flew 135 missions, over 30. However, that wasn't the end of the situation. Turn call, where an RTLS abort to the Kennedy Space Center is no longer possible. Center engine had to land.
Center's looking good.
If that hadn't happened, Challenger might have had to end up ditching in the Atlantic Ocean.
The A center's looking good.
Engines occurred without further incident.
No, they had a sensor issue, and it turned out one of the engines shut off, but then it turned out that the sensor, like, they had this dual redundant computer system, and it kind of was like a coincidence, but basically there was a frayed wire because they had a bolt, somebody tightened a screw or a bolt inside the shuttle's payload bay, and a wire was strafing against it, and so it shorted out. But because like the two computers from two different engines shorted out, it like it basically prevented, like if you had two of the computers in one engine fail, you would have had a problem because there was two different engines. Like it was, I don't even know how to explain it, but basically a double computer error prevented them from triggering an abort scenario. Very bizarre, but pretty interesting.
9 minutes and 41 seconds.
All of this stuff is well documented.
Next up, STS-27. We
Yeah,
almost lost.
there we go. That's the metal plate that got cooked. So the guy in the other video said that if he saw that the thing was about to go, he was gonna give a piece of his mind to mission control and be like, "You fucking assholes." But luckily it worked out, so he didn't have to give him a piece of his mind.
Lost Atlantis. After Challenger was lost on January 28, 1986, it took 2.5 years before the shuttle was ready to fly again. The shuttle's returned to flight on September 29, 1988, what turned out to be a radar reconnaissance satellite known as La Crosse, a satellite that could observe the Soviet Union and other priority targets even at night and through clouds. That deployment had its own drama, with some chatter going around about an emergency spacewalk that may or may not have been done. But ultimately it was successful. However, when the crew used the robotic Canadarm on the shuttle to inspect the tiles on the orbiter, they immediately saw something very worrisome. There was extensive damage to the black tiles on the lower leading edge joining the wing to the fuselage. However, when Mission Control analyzed the damage on the ground, they told the crew that it was not anything to be concerned about. The crew, led by legendary commander Hoot Gibson, did not buy what Mission Control was selling. Hoot told the crew that they should not die all tensed up, and that if he felt Atlantis pulling to the right during re-entry, that he would get on the radio and let Mission Control know what he really thought of their analysis. What a boss move. The time came for re-entry, and there was one whole tile missing in a critical spot. As Atlantis got deeper and deeper into the atmosphere, there was a possibility of a burn-through and a warpage of the orbiter's structure with catastrophic results. Except, the place where that tile was over a metal plate covering a communications antenna, and that metal plate saved the orbiter and its crew.
I would bet you Mission Control knew about it, but decided to roll the dice on it and maybe didn't elucidate the commander on that decision.
Another thing that saved the mission was that the gray leading-edge carbon-carbon material protecting the orbiter from the very hottest temperatures was not damaged or penetrated by any debris.
Died.
In the end,
the leading edges
Atlantis landed safely at Edwards Air Force Base, and Hoot Gibson's
Hoot,
crew
right?
lived to tell their tale.
Hoot.
However, the public had no inkling of what had happened on orbit, as this was a secret DoD mission. And that was part of the problem. The downlink from the shuttle was encrypted due to the need for secrecy, and the resolution of the video beamed back was much lower than...
I don't understand why they would transmit low resolution video over encrypted downlinks. Like, I don't understand, like, I guess they were using analog video transmission at the time. They didn't use digital video compression, so they had to, basically, like, yeah, I guess, like, it's like having a scrambled video signal on, a hot box. Sometimes the quality just don't look right? Gotta get ready for bed. I need to be up in 4 hours to go to court. Ooh. If you just went to court now, it would be night court.
Superior to Asians, but not as intelligent as blacks.
I am a census taker with the U.S. Census Bureau.
Oh, terrific. Good for you. Bye.
Oh, no, wait. Sorry. Hang on. You never returned your 2010 census form, so if I could just ask you a few questions.
Absolutely, dear. Will I need a calculator?
No, ma'am.
Because I have one. But I took the batteries out to use them in a crotch massager.
No, you will not need a calculator. First question, how many people live at this residence?
0.
You don't live here?
Oh, including me? 3.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you down as the primary resident.
Terrific.
Now, how would you describe your race or ethnic origin?
Well, superior to Asians, but not as intelligent as blacks.
Oops, okay. Let me clarify. Which of the following describes you? White, Asian, Hispanic, Pacific Islander?
Oh, Pacific Islander. Let's try that. And don't skimp on the rum.
Okay. What is your last name, ma'am?
Blarfengar.
Can you spell that for me?
S-M-I-T-H.
And that's pronounced?
Blarfengar.
Not Smith?
They changed it at Ellis Island when I was there 2 weeks ago on a bingo cruise.
Okay, and your first name?
Blarfengar.
And that's spelled?
L-E-E.
So your name is Blarfengar, spelled Lee Smith.
Well, back in school, they had to call me Blarfengar B because there was another girl in the class named Lee Jarvis.
Okay, sure. Are there any people living in this residence part-time?
Oh, goodness, yes. There's Fluffy, Princess, Tigger, Socks.
Oh, and these are people we're talking about and not cats, right?
There's really no way of knowing. Sometimes when I see their big eyes looking up from my lap, I think, that's definitely a homeless guy in a fur coat.
Okay, honestly, Ms. Blarfengar,
Yes,
the
that is
government
correct.
is just trying to ascertain...
But you can go to Ellis Island and Liberty Island.
And it normally was.
both of them. Well,
Controllers based their
Can you go to Liberty Island? I don't know. I think you can go there again. I think they open up tours.
analysis on this lower resolution
So anyway, let's get to
of
Artemis
any
here.
shuttle ever flew, counting the IUS upper
As a
stage,
spy satellite
tipping
or
the
Hubble?
scales at 22,700. The commander was Eileen Collins, the first woman to control units, the
Oh,
computers
that's the
that
wires. See the screws? That's what I'm talking about.
run the main engine. To make things worse, these two units were in different engines. Each main engine had a primary, but the main engines all shut down 3 seconds before they were supposed to. The hydrogen leak had caused the working right main engine controller to compensate by increasing the flow of oxidizer to that engine to
Oh,
make
that's the
sure that it
mission.
ran at a normal thrust. So engine 3 was running hot throughout ascent, and the external tank was running low on liquid oxygen towards the end of flight. The effects of it would
Right
abort
there.
in Spain or outside. Multiple miracles or return would take continuous acts of God interspersed with multiple miracles in order for it to be successful.
That's what John Young said about the return to launch site.
After 2 minutes into flight, the solid rocket boosters separated, and the shuttle, also known as TAL. But that doesn't mean it was time to relax. And remember that small hydrogen leak? The effects of it would rear their ugly head shortly. Columbia had passed the 8-minute mark to that engine. The tank was running low on liquid oxygen towards the end of flight. Shutting down the engines with too low an oxygen level could have catastrophically blown off the engine compartment and aft end of the orbiter. And there was understandable relief that that did not happen.
It looked like it was a lock slow of a cutoff.
Infamous exchange you might remember from the NSF intro.
Underspeed there, it looked like it was probably a lock.
Normally, and the crew was able to deploy the Chandra X-ray
So, oh yeah, it's the Chandra X-ray Observatory. That's cool.
with I did from
They actually spotted a supernova on that, and then the ground-based telescopes were told, based on that information, where to point, and they saw
or the
a new
engines.
nebula.
The computer laid bloom. The main engine. And a number 3 or the one.
I just want to get the number. I
crew
want
was
to see
so
what mission is this.
dramatic. First woman to come kilograms. I 27 X-ray lows, and you bet of S shuttle close.
STS-93. That's the one. That's the one. I think that's the one. Yeah. This is the one here, and Scott Manley did a video about it. Apparently, someone else did a video about it too. But here's the CGI video I saw. This is it.
This is the space shuttle. Over time, cracks had started to show in a couple of its liquid oxygen posts. These are the thin pipes that carry liquid oxygen into the combustion to destroy the entire vehicle. Instead of replacing these, NASA simply deactivated them by placing a small metal pin at the top, which stopped the liquid oxygen from flowing through. This was common practice for NASA, and it saved the engine from going through a lengthy refurbishment. But as Space Shuttle Columbia ignited its engines, one of these metal pins worked its way loose and shot itself into the combustion chamber at over 30 meters per second.
Oh, so it wasn't a piece of ice; it was a nail.
In the blink of an
So this is what happened to this particular STS-93.
eye,
So notice the combustion chamber. This is how you mix the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. It's much like the weeks ago we looked at a video of the F1 engine on the Saturn V, much larger, but same concept. It has a bunch of holes that either squirt through liquid oxygen or liquid hydrogen. And I think that's where the exhaust is mixed in. I'm not really sure. But
bounced off the chamber walls and punctured a hole in the
there we go. So now you got the liquid
delicate engine nozzle. This part of the engine is made up of over 1,000 thin tubes, which circulate the ultra-cold liquid hydrogen to stop the nozzle from melting. From here, the hydrogen makes its way into the combustion chamber, where it
Hey,
ignites
Reggie,
and produces
it was
thrust.
STS-93.
When
That's
pin
the one I was
collided
talking
with the
about. It wasn't a
nozzle,
piece of ice.
ripped
It was a
hole
nail.
in 3 of the pipes, and liquid hydrogen began pouring out of the engine. If just 2 more of these pipes had been damaged, the nozzle would have melted, causing a chain reaction that would have completely destroyed the vehicle. The space shuttle was just barely hanging on, but all of this went completely unnoticed since none of the sensors could detect the leak. What the sensors did detect was a lower chamber pressure, since less hydrogen was making its
This landing reminds me of the day the shuttle retired. Sad day, I know, right? I have a city that I've never been to, never lived in, never had an address in, and never anything with, and certainly have never requested any services from, suing me for sanitation. Jesus. Sounds like a pain in the ass, Slim. Good luck, buddy. I'm sure you'll be able to prove that you literally don't live there. So I'm sure your bases are covered, but that sounds so inconvenient to, like, have to, especially, presumption of innocence, and yet you still have to prove your innocence. Kind of sounds annoying.
way into the combustion chamber. In order to fix this, the onboard computers automatically started pumping more liquid oxygen into the engine, which brought the pressure back up to the correct amount. This meant that the shuttle was now burning through its liquid oxygen too quickly, and if it continued like this, it would run out. An electrical problem had occurred in the vehicle, which all this was going on, a completely unrelated electrical problem had occurred in the vehicle, which put the shuttle offline, and it was no longer vulnerable to hackers. Just
Jesus. Fucking
complete
VPN.
disaster. Its right engine was burning through too much liquid oxygen,
You can see it's burning through extra liquid oxygen.
and if it ran out, the shuttle might not have made it into orbit, or even worse, the engines could have ripped themselves apart.
That would've been bad.
Amazingly, a completely separate problem was about to save the day. Inside the payload bay were a series of electrical wires, small screw, that had been over-tightened and had a very sharp edge. Insulation had been slowly worn away. 5 seconds into the flight, the exposed
Why they don't put tape over
wire
that?
arced onto the screw, causing a short circuit and setting a number of instruments offline. This immediately set off all kinds of warnings inside the cockpit, one of which was a fuel cell warning. The fuel cells aboard shuttle used hydrogen and oxygen to produce all of the electricity for the vehicle. If one of these went wrong, the results would be catastrophic. Luckily, this was just a faulty reading, and there was nothing wrong with the fuel cells. The real problem was lurking down below. 2 computers in charge of controlling the shuttle's engines had been knocked offline thanks to the electricity shortage. Each engine had a main computer and a backup computer, which would take over if something went wrong. The right engine, which was leaking fuel, had just lost its backup computer, and the center engine lost its main computer. This caused a unique problem that actually turned into a solution. You see, under normal circumstances, both computers run simultaneously. The data from both computers is compared and averaged out, and this is what is used to control the engines. This means that if a sensor on one of the computers is reading abnormally high or low, it won't have such a big effect on the engine. As it turned out, the pressure sensor on the backup computer was reading incorrectly, and it was sending back an abnormally high pressure reading. Since the main computer wasn't there to cancel this out, it tricked the engine into thinking the pressure was too high. Because of this, the engine started pumping less liquid oxygen into the engine to reduce the pressure.
Whoa.
This now meant that although the right engine was guzzling through too much oxygen, the center engine was using less than normal.
So
and
it didn't have an engine cut off. Instead, it kept all engines running, but one of the engines ended up using less liquid oxygen than it was supposed to, which I imagine would give you an incomplete burn, but it offset the increased liquid oxygen consumption of the other engine.
the problems canceled each other out. If the center engine didn't have a faulty sensor, or if the electrical supply hadn't failed, the whole shuttle would have run out of liquid oxygen much sooner, and it wouldn't have reached orbit. Had this actually happened, the crew would have had to make an aborted landing back on Earth, still carrying the enormous telescope on their backs. By sheer coincidence, two completely separate problems occurred that perfectly canceled each other out at aired speed. In the end, the shuttle was able to make up for this by using its OMS engines, and the Chandra telescope was successfully deployed. Since its main engines weren't needed for the rest, a primal space designed shuttle poster
Cool. Okay,
available
let's get to
in our
Artemis now.
store.
Thank you
All
guys
you
for
need to do
being patient. So If anyone wants to see the vehicle assembly. Oh, yeah, Reggie, what about the Masonic thing?
Reggie on the line. Let's sort signal from noise. The image on the left is indeed a classic Baphomet-style goat. Human-like gaze, symmetrical horns associated with occult symbolism, in later reinterpretations, popularized in modern times by 19th century occult art. It's a stylized horned creature face, likely from tattoo flash, neo-traditional blackwork, design common influences. Biker, metal, and street tattoo culture key. Visual impact, not doctrine about the triangles on the fingers. Someone saw horns symmetry and made a leap to Baphomet, then layered on Masonic conspiracy framing classic pattern. Visual similarity symbolic assumption narrative built on top bottom line. The right image is almost certainly just a stylized, Dimononi-style tattoo, not a clear match to Baphomet, no solid evidence of Masonic or occult meaning from that alone conclusion. End of line.
Well, yeah, so it sounds like they're using AI facial recognition to solve crime slim, or some other variation thereof of using AI. Well, many cities annexed places that were never officially part of a city. Biden was using EPA officials to falsify land claims close to waterways, claiming people's land as floodplains to steal their land. I could totally picture them doing that. So we're going to just, some of these pictures are out of order because I initially downloaded them in the order of what I thought was cool. And then in the middle of that, I started downloading them in order. And there is a Flickr gallery. I guess I can give you guys a link to that. Flickr Artemis 2. So this is the gallery where these pictures originated from on Flickr. If we flip DJ, he is a bull. Chicago. I'm not a Chicago bull. Nerd Porvial Lifeform is a Chicago bull. Well, I don't know if he's a bull, but he's a Chicago Nerd Porvial. Wonder how he's doing. I gotta check on that dude. I mean, I'm sure he's doing content. He's supposed sometimes he streams sporadically, but he became a working man. How dare he become civilized and earn pay at a job? But jokes aside, let's get to this Artemis action here. No, but I'm glad. I'm always happy when my friends are employed, you know. It's good to have a job. This is actually a mixed up. I have a few pictures that I got to sort, delete, or move out of this folder because after looking at the Artemis pictures, I did download some pictures from the International Space Station expeditions. And this is a Soyuz spacecraft here. This is the part that re-enters the atmosphere. No, or is this the part? It doesn't really matter. Anyway, crap, I hit the wrong button on my keyboard. How do I get out of this mode? So my picture app has a mode where it goes into full screen mode, and I don't know how to get it out. Oh, there we go, I got it. Apparently, if you press Control 2, we lost the picture. Oh, there we go. So these are interior pictures while they're near the Earth. This is, I don't know if this is their trail or a different trail. It might be the trail from their own rocket. That's the moon. Here we go. So it's our first. This is what the Earth looked like. Remember the picture before where you can see the auroras and the sodium line, where the meteorites leave sodium behind and it ionizes to that orange glow, which is similar to the color of a sodium streetlight. Well, you can see a little hint of the aurora up here, but this is basically what the nighttime side of the Earth looked like, without cranking up the ISO on the camera a lot. So you can see some city lights and things of that nature. But this is, just more or less real lighting. Now, there you go. So this picture was taken at ISO 5100 or 52,000. And I believe there's actually, we can get EXIF data from this. So what kind of EXIF data can we get out of this? Well, this is just like the time we looked at the 9/11 pictures from the Fujifilm camera. Okay, that's interesting. I was just seeing if I can, what is that? Alt-M? Okay, we're going to remember that. Alt-M. What does overview do? Okay, well, we don't want overview. Let's get rid of that. Okay, that didn't work. Let me do it manually. Oh, you just press O, M. M, what does M do? Oh, that's cool. Look, we got metadata down here. I wonder if it's what information is more detailed or, because I like the way it looks on the bottom of the screen. And this is Alt-M and letter I. Okay, so let's get rid of letter I. I guess you could assign a rating to the image. Alt-M. Crap, what did I just press? So basically, we can see some useful information down here. I don't know if they have the description in here. So I would love if they had the description because on the Flickr gallery, they have detailed descriptions next to every image. But when you save the picture, I don't think you get that information unless it's buried in here somewhere. I'm kind of hoping that that information is buried in here because I believe that it would be a really nice thing to have. Like when I scan my family photos from the really old ones, I have the intent of Okay, I'm glad. What the fudge? This window resized itself. But I want to put descriptive info inside the image itself. Like, if a picture has a backside, it has some writing on it, I want to include it in the image data. And of course, I scan a second copy of the image that also has that information in it. But I feel like it would just, damn it, it's in slideshow mode. Okay, let's get it out of slideshow mode. But anyway, so let's get back to that picture of the Earth. So over here, let's collapse some of the information we don't need. So it's telling us that they used a Nikon D5 digital camera. And they used a 1/4 second shutter speed, which is pretty slow actually. That's it's literally 1/4 of a second would be the knob setting on my SLR. Or it would be on my astronomy camera, it'd be something like 250 milliseconds, I guess. ISO 51,200, which is like unrealistically high for film, but for whatever reason with digital, you can do it without getting an oppressive amount of grain. The camera recommended using that same setting, so the guy did not override it. They used a little exposure compensation. Aperture is f2.8, which from what I understand, they basically I think were instructed to use particular aperture settings. A wider aperture lets in more light, but it also means that you have a shallower depth of field, meaning that anything in front of or behind your point of focus, your focal point, will be out of focus. They have the focal length on the zoom lens, if they're even using a zoom lens or whatever type of thing what does it say? Focal length, 35 millimeter film, 22 millimeter. High gain up, contrast, you get the idea. So you got all this information embedded in all of these images. We're going to get rid of that panel now as soon as I figure out how. And we're going to keep it rolling. And I think basically all the information we care about is already here. So you'll see this picture was taken at 1/1000th of a second. So we zoom in at 100% zoom. They're still pretty far away from the moon here, right? Now, how do I reset the zoom with the keyboard so I don't have to keep pressing buttons? Control 0. Okay, cool. Control 0 and Control 1. So, that's a wide shot. Here's our Artemis space vehicle, and once again, you got the moon in the background. You got the vehicle up here, and you can see they're using a shutter speed of 1/2000th per second, and yet it still looks a little blurry. So it's probably not motion blur. Could just be a combination of the settings and the brightness and the fact that the priority was trying to get the moon, I guess. Ooh, this one here is the vehicle. Now remember, everything above this copper or brown or mylar colored line separates for re-entry. So, this would be where the heat shield is hiding out. And you got some thruster ports up here. They probably have some ports to eject wastewater. I know that was one of the problems I had with the toilet later on was you have to have the one side of the ship oriented towards the sun when you release the wastewater so that it doesn't turn into ice and clog up the nozzle. This is another angle. This is the European Service Module. So you can see it says ESA on here, European Space Agency. And pretty much all of your utilities, your power supplies, your water tanks, your, stuff that sustains life. A lot of that, not all of it, but a lot of the stuff that supplies the life support system is in there. Obviously, the capsule itself has a life support system, but there are components and there's consumables that live inside the service module. So here's a nighttime image of Christina Cook doing her thing, and you got your digital displays up here. Here's a great picture of the Earth looking like a crescent here. Oh, it's a little blurry there. I'm going to guess that the spaceship is in focus, maybe? No, it's not. There's no spaceship there. Ooh, this is one of the astronauts. Looks like the Canadian guy. This was taken on an iPhone 17 Pro Max. And it's not bad, but obviously it's not going to be as good as a picture from a real camera. This was taken on Nikon D5, and you got, crescent Earth. I've done this with Venus many times when I've taken pictures of Venus. It's just the timing almost always aligns. Where you get a crescent like that. There we go. That's the moon. We choose the moon, as Christina Cook said in her speech. Flash return detected. I guess they used a flash in that picture? I don't know. I don't know what that means. That's another crescent Earth. Now we're further away. This one here. So, you got a clearer picture of the Earth. Ooh, that's cool. Ow, I bumped into my microphone. Fly me to the moon. A little bit, blurry-fied there. Oh, that's a nice one. That's Christina Cook. What does that say? Watch Everclear. What? Oh, hatch emergency, obviously. Hatch emergency release. 1. Confirm pressure something. 2. Do this. 3. Something. I don't know what it says, but yeah, that's the emergency release. And that's Christina Cook, nerding it out. That's the Canadian, I believe. Or is that Reed Weissman? Oh, there was an emotional moment on this mission. I'll pull up the video in a little bit. I guess that's a magical electric shaver that doesn't leave hair all over the place. I want to see what the moon looks like. Oh, that's a great picture of the moon at that. Even though it's not zoomed in, that's a very nice picture of the moon there. Once again, if you review these on Flickr, they have descriptions. I'm a little bit upset that I don't think these pictures contain that information. So it's like maybe at some future point I can find a way to automate that, or I'll have to manually add that information. Like, look, it literally has like description down here. Oh, I could probably use this text over here to maybe get that information automatically and then insert it into the file. Because I think that would be the ideal way to store these images, is to have all of that information, like the description, the detailed description, embedded in there. I actually have footage of the moon that looks like this. Comparable to that. A little bit more ripply. Oh, that's cool. That's Victor Glover, and that's the Earth in a crescent right there. There we go. This is a great one right here. We're gonna turn off the information at the bottom here. But this was taken at a shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second. So a pretty high shutter speed. The ISO, let's see, they're using the 400mm focal length zoom lens, so to speak. And somehow this picture is only, oh god, these are not TIFFs. I gotta find out if I can download the TIFF format images, because this is way too, this is not gonna be these pictures are apparently all JPEGs. Maybe they don't let you download TIFF format images, but I don't want a JPEG. I want I want a RAW or a TIFF. A TIFF derived from a RAW would be fine. But even with the JPEG compression, look at the surface of the moon here. Look at that shit. That's pretty cool. It reminds me of Jerry Anderson's work. He did Space 1999. It reminds me he did interesting planetscapes when he did his claymation one with the Thunderbirds, I think it was. Here's another one. That one, look at that. You can see some glistening there, and I don't know, just very, very interesting. And you also see some, sometimes you'll see details like little lines or striations. Not so much here. And you can see, sometimes on a good telescope, you could also see how, like, the topography varies on the edge of the disc or the edge of the shapes, the bow, whatever you call that. And let's see what the Earth looks like here. Oh yeah, it's a very nice picture of the Earth. Look at that. This one, that's a money shot right there. Once again. And now we're on the far side of the moon, so we actually see more of what we, would want to see. So Awesome One has me, what is this? So if the Flickr gallery is, what is this? If the Flickr gallery is the go-to source, what the hell is this? I mean, this is great if this is what I think it is. And I'll go through it later and see if I go. Yeah, I mean, this looks like what I just asked for. So, thank you. Let's see. Let's try downloading an image. Maybe maybe they're gonna release. Maybe they're releasing the stuff to Flickr early, and then they're gradually releasing. Ah, that's a JPEG. Damn it. Wait. Original. original. I don't think that's really original. I think they just mean original resolution. Yeah, they just mean original resolution. We'll work it out. We'll figure it out. I'm not gonna bother Reggie about that right now. Actually, I am gonna bother Reggie. Hey Reggie, I noticed that the images on the Flickr gallery for Artemis 2 and the pictures on image-assets.nasa.gov, even the full resolution versions appear to be JPEGs. Are they not distributing, TIFFs derived from the raw images or anything like that? Because, JPEGs are JPEGs. You don't need me to tell you why I have a low opinion of JPEGs. I'm not saying they're bad. I mean, they're great when you lived in 1998 and you're looking at pictures online and you don't want to wait all day for the picture to download. And I know there's ways to, optimize the compression where you strike a good balance between quality and compression. But are they planning on releasing the highest quality images at some point in time, or are they already available in something like the TIFF format? Because I can almost swear I've almost definitely downloaded Apollo 17, images on Flickr in like super duper TIFF format. So I'm gonna double check that on my end just to prove the point why stream. Oh yeah, we're live right now. You're doing a good job, Reggie. Keep it coming the way you talking. You're doing great. Gotta give Reggie a pat on the back there. Yeah, JPEGs get all pixelated because of the compression. Exactly. I mean, it's by design. So the way JPEG works, like I could actually, I can show you a great example of how JPEG works. It's actually really, really educational here. I don't mean to be corny. Like it is very instructive. Let me get a picture from Artemis, and I'm gonna show you like an extreme example of how JPEG compression works. So we need like one clear picture. Like I'd say a picture of the Earth would be fine. So I'm opening up a picture in Photoshop right now. And if I zoom in on it, you'll see here, it looks pretty good, right? Like, wait, how do I zoom in? What? I had to reset my Photoshop controllers again. So I think I'm missing stuff. So where's my navigator? Here it is, navigator, this thing here. Okay, so we're at 100% zoom right now, right? So now we're going to do something wild to the image. We're going to go do Shift Control Alt S. This is the Save for Web dialog, and this is like basically how I learned how compression works. So in this picture here, I'm going to tell it I want to save it as a JPEG, and when you do that, it's actually going to tell you how big the picture is. So if I save it as a 24-bit PNG, the file size is going to be 3 megabytes down here. If I pick JPEG, now the picture is only 600 kilobytes at 80% quality, or it's a sliding scale here. You got a 0 to 80. So let's go bring it to 0. Now, as soon as I do that, it gives us a real-time preview. Now, you may not immediately perceive the change, but I will direct your attention to where the change happens. I'm just going to see if I can see it. Okay, so let's zoom in on it now. Okay, so we're going to pick this region here, and we're going to lower the quality to 0. So see, look at that. It broke it into macro blocks. So basically, this is the lowest, almost the lowest possible setting you could pick. And the theory is that, especially if you zoom out enough, you can't really tell that the quality is lost, right? Oh crap, what did I just press? I did not mean to maximize the window. Resize. Okay. So, this one here, if we go to 100% zoom, where's the zoom indicator? Does it tell me? Okay, so we're at 100% zoom right now. And really, it's hard to see the loss in quality, but you do see the finer detail is getting lost here. So we go back to 0. We zoom in again, and you can see those blocks. So we're at 300 to 400% zoom. Now we bring it up to 100. Okay. Still looks like crap, but it's better than before, right? Now, let's go back to 200% zoom. So basically, you can see how it changes ever so slightly, but like the idea is that JPEG compression, you can like take a file that would have been 1 megabyte, 950 kilobytes, and turn it into a 600 kilobyte file. So we save over about 300 kilobytes of file size, or 1/3 basically, and we don't have a perceptible loss of quality. Realistically, you could bring this down to a 72, and you wouldn't see a difference. Now, I could see the difference, but let's see here. So we go to 72. Yeah, I could barely see the difference. So it looks like when I let go of the mouse, that's when it changes the quality. So if I click on it and I drag it and I let go, yeah, imperceptible. So 72 quality, you get it to down to like almost 50% the size. So now let's check one more thing. At 600% zoom, we're going to see if 72 and 100 make a difference. And well, realistically, I don't see a difference. And the reason is there's so much information in this image that you couldn't perceive the loss. So if we bring it down to 50%, some of the pixels change, but not meaningfully, at least from the human eye. Now, we got it down to 300 kilobytes just now by setting it to 50% quality. And you probably wouldn't be able to tell, especially at this scale, that there was lost quality. Now, obviously, we're using Photoshop, so maybe what I would do is I would lower the resolution to be something comparable to like screen resolution. So that's 100% zoom now. We got a 180 kilobyte file at 50% quality. At 100% quality, it's a 900 kilobyte file once again. So we go back to 72, let's say, 72. And that's what we got. So now we're going to zoom in again. This time we should zoom out a little bit more. And we're going to bring the quality to 0. See, blurry mess, but that's 100%. And let's go to 72 now. Imperceptible. Now, let's do one alternative extreme example. So how are we going to illustrate this in an extreme example? I'll show you. So we're going to just draw like really basic stuff. I don't have my drawing tablet pen. I haven't found it yet. So we're just going to draw. We're going to draw some black. So we're going to go, ooh, that's not black. There we go. That's black. And we're going to draw some red. I said red. Or pink. We could do pink. We could do pink and red. Let's do pink and red. Oh, crap. I keep doing that. Okay. So there we go. So now we got that. Now we're going to just do a primitive shape. We're going to do a real basic primitive shape. We're going to do maybe like a red. Let's do an orange square. So now we're going to just go and get the square tool. Where's the square tool? Okay, we're going to do a rectangle. And we're going to do another rectangle, but we're going to do a rounded rectangle. And we're going to do that one in blue. We're going to do that in like I don't know, sea foam. So now, crap. I did not mean I gotta make a new layer. Because I guess I don't have to make a new layer, right? I guess we could keep that, but shit. Okay, let's just. So I was gonna do something fancy here. I was gonna use blending options. We're gonna make one more layer so we could use blending options because I want to show an example of something here. So we're gonna do a blending option on this one. I know you can't see the whole screen, but we can fix that. So there we go. So now you can see the whole thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a outer box thingy. Or we can do a drop shadow. We can do a drop shadow. Right? And maybe we'll do like a thin stroke. And we'll make it real thin. We're gonna make it like 2 pixels thick. We're going to make the opacity low on it, which I feel like maybe isn't the best play. Let's just do that. Okay. Oh, crap. I'm typing a bunch of W's. No. Okay, there we go. So there we go. So now, this is where the magic happens. Save for web, right? We have a PNG. PNGs are great for images with basic colors. But JPEG in the detailed image before, you may have thought that the loss in quality wasn't dramatic, and it's true. It isn't necessarily dramatic. You can hide the loss of detail because there's so much detail. You got room to get rid of detail without losing it. So now, barely changed. Let's bring it to 0. Now let's zoom in on it. So I want you to observe this square right here. Watch what happens when I bring it back to 100%. We have everything there. We have the gradations in color. It's 102 kilobyte image. We bring it down to 72. There is some loss of quality, in particular, your classic JPEG compression. So imagine you were given a low quality image like this and you had to blow it up. This detail here wasn't originally there. It's only there because I applied compression, but we cut the file size in half, almost by half. Bring it to the bottom, suddenly you have all this. So this is typically what you get when you take a low resolution JPEG and you blow it up. You're going to see a lot of these things, and they get worse when you blow them up. And you can see the edges of the whites. So when there's no detail to throw away, the compression algorithm has to make decisions on what to do differently. And so it adds all of this like mess here because it's not really adding it. It's sort of like flattening the palette. It's doing a lot of weird things. I'm not going to pretend to know how it works, but this is what happens when you use JPEG compression on a basic image. So with high detail images, you can get away with it, but it's still not a faithful reproduction. It's using the film grain. Essentially, it's basically blending the film grain. It's doing different tricks to the film grain where you and I won't really perceive it at a glance. Maybe if we analyze it and zoom in on it, we might perceive it, especially if you could compare it to the original. And that's what I like about this feature is you can take an original uncompressed image and to see what it looks like, you know, before and after. You can even do a side by side like this. So you can see here how I can actually do like super low quality here. And then on the left side, I could either have the original or I can even do something different. I can use like one of these presets here, which at that point, what I would do is I would do PNG 8. And you can see that the one on the right is going to be 17 kilobytes. Maybe we bring the quality up to something like this, where there's minimal evidence of compression, but you can still see some here. And we get it down to 49 kilobytes. But on the left, what I can do is I can use PNG 8, which is basically 256 color. And there's a cool trick you could do. If I could just find a way to zoom out. Crap. There's a cool trick you could do. So on the left side image, what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to use less color. So how do we do that? We can literally pick less color. See? 16 color. Notice we now have a file that's only 12 kilobytes in size. So if you ever need to compress an image that has basic color, your best play is to use a PNG. And if you really want to get extreme, use 8-bit PNG, which when I'm making pictures for my Pocket PC, the old vintage handheld computers, this is how I take anime wallpapers or any wallpaper and put them in black and white. I'll actually make the image grayscale, and then I'll adjust the color selection to 16. So like on your first Windows 3.1 computer, you might have had 16 color. Ah, crap. There we go. And you can see like how if I want to get the 12 kilobyte file size in JPEG, I have to do this. Like this is, so right there, you can see how the 8-bit 16 color PNG can do this. Now, problem is the corners have some shadow. Now, that's where 256 color PNGs don't excel. So let's let the JPEG go to max quality, or we'll use the original. So there's the original on the right, and on the left, this is a 16 color PNG. So maybe we say, you know what, let's try 64 colors. Now 64 colors blends in. This isn't really compression. This is you just telling it how many colors it's allowed to use. 128 color, now it's starting to get there, and then the maximum 256 color. And then the one on the right can do millions of colors. The one on the left can only do 256 colors. You can see how that shadow region there gets kind of like, right? You know, you can see right there. So there's some imaging principles there, and you can get away with more compression, bottom line, with a JPEG that has a lot of detail. But in a low detail image, JPEG is not going to allow you to get away with as much. So it is different tricks. So let's get back to the chat. Hey, what's up, El? Oh, yeah, I should wrap up soon. So let's get through the rest of the Artemis or some of the Artemis images. Send JPEGs, El. Zoom in on Earth's zits. Reggie cloned himself. Did Reggie clone himself? Oh, okay, I see. I just want to make sure we're safe. I was worried we were in danger. Reggie has an answer about the Artemis pictures, but it's going to be long. Oh, you got pics? Oh, good. I'll go check Discord. Or if you have a link, you can post it. You're more than welcome to post links in the chat. You're always welcome to post links in the chat. You can post anything you want in the chat. You could post like turtles eating turtles. I wouldn't. I might get a little upset at it, but I wouldn't get mad. Okay, maybe that would be crossing the line. I actually wouldn't get mad, but it'd be weird. I'd be like, "Why are you doing this?" Nah. But jokes aside, though, no, you're more than welcome to if you want or direct me to your channel. Oh yeah, that's probably where you posted the pics. Your name isn't on my friends list. Oh, there you are. I see you. Okay, I got worried. I was like, oh my god, I lost Elle. She's not on my friends list. What happened? Ah. You're on my friends list. You're on my Discord friends list. You're there. Go to channel. Go to Chanel. 3D Metroidvanias ever made. Nearly all. Okay, so you didn't post the pics yet, but I just wanted to say this. 3D Metroidvanias ever made, they nearly all seem to be 2D focused. Closest I can think of are Batman, Arkham Asylum, and 2013 Tomb Raider. Maybe Jedi Fallen Order, and then they're very light and holdy. You've got Metroid Prime. Also, we have stuff like Superland. I must confess, I only ever finished Metroid Prime 4. Very, very technically something. So it's a debate about Metroidvanias. Because Metroidvanias tend to be more 2D oriented, from Symphony of Night to Super Metroid. Something you can play not only in consoles but also in handhelds. 3D Metroidvania is mostly adventure in general, like Skyrim. I'll show you a Skyrim. Why can't we be friends? Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. It's hot dogs. But yeah, so that's apparently like, I couldn't tell unless I had the original. I probably wouldn't be able to tell how much information is lost. The downside is to have a picture of this resolution in a okay, then a community post. Got it. To have a picture of this resolution in a TIFF or RAW would be like probably 50 megabytes. So here's the eclipse, and that's, I think, one of the planets. That might be Venus or Mars or something. There's another angle of the Earth. This is the actual solar eclipse, the artificial solar eclipse that they spotted on here. They did a 15-second exposure to get this one, by the way. So that's, the shutter was open. This one's a 1/500th second exposure time. Look at that crater. And, I think there is some motion blur from the orbital velocity. The U-2 spy plane actually had a camera that would move the film plane through, like it would move the film to synchronize with the speed of the ground. Not the U-2, the SR-71. But look at that crater rim. That's phenomenal right there. A crater in a crater. That's the eclipse shot right there. And you got, see these here? These are hot pixels or dead pixels, but what's interesting is these dead pixels might not be sensor defects. This might be the radiation affecting the camera. So that's kind of cool to see that effect. It's sort of like the same sensor defects. Look at that. You even got some in the color regions here too. You got a random red hot pixel. So yeah, that's probably either the high ISO setting of the camera, which I don't know what ISO setting it's on right now. I guess we could find out. Hey, what's up, California Ford 44? Good to see you. This was taken at ISO 1600. So that's a pretty high. It's not terribly high, but it's pretty high. It's definitely high from like traditional photography, from the point of view of a traditional photographer. So there we go. We got the astronauts doing that thing. She's wearing a headlight on her head. What does that say? Does that have a note on there? Like, I want to know what that says. I don't know what that says. I guess that's an instructional thing, like turn off the light to not waste batteries, maybe. That's a great picture. Wow, that's a really good one. That's taken at 1/500th second. This one came out real good. And once again, we don't know how much we're losing from the JPEG compression, but it tries to hide it in the details so you don't really see it. Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool too. More angular, but once again, you got more. So let's go. Oh yeah, this is the money shot. This is my favorite one, by the way. Look at that. Look how good the moon looks on this one. You see a lot of surface details. Like you can see that smooth area, And what's crazy, you try to land in a smooth area on the moon, and you'll suddenly spot a ton of boulders where you didn't expect to see them. That's why unmanned landers tend to fail on the moon more often than, or recently at least. And whereas Apollo, you have a man at the stick, so they can make snap judgment decisions. And there's some topography right there. Oh, this is a good one too. Look at this, man. Oh man, that's a great. This one is okay. It's not. It's actually very clean detail because they're not zooming in. They're not doing too much zoom, so you get a little more. Oh, that's a cool one. I think that's the. You can see some lunar topography right here. Look at that little mountainous shape. That's them exercising solar safety for the solar eclipse. That's the T-shirt shroud, which looks more like it looks like it's more than a T-shirt. That's one of the external boom cam. Oh wow, this looks like Space 1999 right here. Look at that shit, man. I'm gonna use these for my streams, yo. That's Victor being like, "Hey, look, I took a cool picture," and the other guy's like, "I took a cool picture." That's the eclipse again. You got some topography there again, and we're gonna get to that picture from Elle in a second. And I think we're back to the beginning of the roll here, or I think we're at the beginning of the roll. I think we're back. I think this is the beginning of the roll. I'm not really sure. Oh, it's a heart-shaped crater. It's so cute. But yeah, a lot of great detail, and you can see some interesting striations here. That's what I'm talking about. These are ridges, and I think sometimes they see evidence of earthquakes and stuff like that. So the ground does shift sometimes on the moon, and that's a really good picture of the European service module and its thrust nozzles. This is once again tiles, right? And that's the Milky Way. This did not come out that good actually, but it came out as good as you could expect. Yeah, a lot of very detailed imagery. Like, look at that. You see these little cracks on the moon right there? That's pretty cool. I don't know what they are, but they have some distinct character to them. I think that's one of the younger craters on the moon. And that's the MCC. Oh, look, it looks like a face. Look at the moon has a face. Look at that. It's like the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, 5 years old. And then we're back to Apollo. So these are old pictures. So let's get let's get what Elle sent us. Thank you, Elle, for hanging in there. Okay, I clicked on the community post, and they have pools. We went to a pool party today. Been a while since I've had a chance to take pics with Nagi. What up, my Nagis? She found a 1/6 scale M4 rifle. Someone must have lost it. Is this the biggest picture I can get? I mean, I know I could zoom in on it any which way. Let me F11 this, and I'll blow it up a little bit. There we go. That should do. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, where's Nagi? Ooh la la. Reggie, comment. Oh yeah, Reggie does have an answer to my question about the thing from before, but we're gonna worry about that later. I want Reggie to comment on this. Let's get to the next picture. Ooh, that's a nice angle. Very good fabric. I mean, for action figure. Yeah. I have Star Trek figurines that have the same fabric. Oh, what does that say? That's cool. Oh, cool. It's a Baywatch. Dude, what? Did you have to get that separately, or did you make that? Or did they actually sell this with the Baywatch logo on it? Because that's hilarious. Oh, there's the M4 rifle. Oh, that's cool. So you must have different clothes, right? Is this the same figurine? I just want to know.
NASA Archives, Project Apollo Archive, Artemis imagery. Digital first workflow public release pipeline favors, ready-to-use JPEGs archival masters exist, but are not always pushed publicly. Exist publicly, they usually show up here. NASA image and video library occasionally includes TIFF downloads not guaranteed. Johnson Space Center is the nuclear option, but it works. Your instinct about JPEG correct. Lossy limited bit depth 8-bit not ideal for heavy grading or scientific work.
Yep, agreed. Thanks, Reggie. But I'm really curious. Let's ask Reggie. Maybe he could tell us how Nagi got this. Hey, Reggie, this is a picture of Nagi taken by LCX. You know, L, the VTuber. Um, I'm waiting for a response in chat, but because it's taken a while, understandably so, I wanted you to tell me, is this like this Baywatch swimsuit that Nagi is wearing? Is this official? Like, do they sell Nagi Senizen, Nagi, Nagi? Do they sell figurines that wear the Baywatch outfit, or do you think this is a aftermarket add-on? I'm actually starting to suspect that this was tailored by L. That L literally took fabric, cut it to shape, and did seamstress work to it to make it fit. But maybe you can tell me if they are selling, or if anyone else has a Nagi Senizan uh, action figure or doll in a Baywatch swimsuit, because she's in lifeguard style, and as you can see, she has an M4 carbine. I think it's a carbine. I don't know the difference between a carbine and a rifle, but yeah. Well, these are cool. This is right. Yeah, this is cool. She got a Hello Kitty. I think Elle made these. Unless they sell, unless you took them from a Barbie doll. But the shoes. I mean, those are like Converses, high top Converses, yo. I'm at work, not time to clock in. Ah, well, it is now time to clock in. I got you. Well, I know you yesterday said that you can't always tune in, but don't worry, I understand. But thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm glad that I was running the show so late that you were able to tune in while getting ready for work. Oh my God, that looks like a horseshoe crab in the background. I know it's not, but it looks like a horseshoe crab. Well, California Ford 44, you have a great morning, evening time at work tonight or today. We went to a pool party. Oh, yeah, is this the first picture? No. Same description in every picture. That's funny. Oh, I see. That's a stand. I need to get a stand for my Catagina doll. Oh, that's badass. Let's give Reggie this picture too. I think it's funny. She looks like an elite trooper. That's pretty cool. Thanks, Al. You all should click the like button on this post. Let's get it to 100 likes. Well, let's realistically, how many people watch? Let's get it to 5 likes. And then the rest of them will come from El's audience. Well, Reggie has an answer, but we'll get ready to wrap up in a second. All right, Reggie. Tell me what you know. Give me the deets. Give me the deets, Reggie. So I'll do some research. I'll do some research and find out what I can find out about, the thing about getting high quality images from NASA. Oh my God, that's a great picture. Hold on, I gotta get that picture. Oh man, it's gone. I had I had a search result with news items, and had a guy with glasses, and I was gonna tell you that those are called birth control glasses. You know, in the army, when you join the army and they give you like really shitty glasses that are not so stylish eyeglasses, yeah, those are called birth control glasses. So this is RS-218. I'm gonna be tuning into him in a moment. Make time for reincarnated as slime. Yes, please play reincarnated as slime. That sounds good. 6 likes so far. Ghost Pet Shop says there's 5 likes. So, Reggie, you gonna spill the beans?
Reggie here. Copy that. Let's break it down cleanly. NASA does have higher quality formats,
No, not
but
that.
they are not always what you see on Flickr.
This Reggie. Okay, he's getting it. He's getting it. He's getting it. Reggie's working on it. He's processing as we speak. So Reggie's going to tell us about these pictures here. And in the meantime, let's check the 3D printer. Oh my God, look at that cube. It's coming out pretty nice right there. It's only halfway done, but like this would have taken twice as long. So how long we've been running the show? It's been printing for that long. It would have taken twice as long to get here. It would have been half the size. On an unmodified end of 3D printer, this would have been half the size right here, right now. So because I have the printer tuned and calibrated, I'm printing at double the speed. Look at that. Look at that thing fly. That is cool. That is cool. All right. So Reggie, what do you got?
Reggie on the line. Good eye, this is exactly the kind of detail that gives it away. What is official? There is an official swimsuit figure of Nagi Sanzanen. 16-scale PVC figure produced by Kotobukiya around 29. Simple anime-style swimsuit, typically plain, not branded. Imagettes Ops Images, OpenEye.com static RSC4. Images, OpenEye.com static RSC4. EMN7, NBLW, IOPS, GSE, HEOS. Image text images OpenEye.com static RSC43 F60 F6 CTDS. Image text download.com static RSC4. These official versions are clean design, no Baywatch, logo, no lifeguard, parody branding, fixed, sculpt, not fabric, clothing sources confirm this is just a generic swimsuit version figure. Posted is very different. Fabric swimsuit, not molded plastic, has a Baywatch lifeguard style. Combination is a huge tell. Conclusion, your suspicion is correct. This is almost certainly hand-sewn or kit-bashed outfit, possibly from doll clothing, 16 scale, like Obitsu A-Zone custom bodies or directly made by L. Extra detail, you picked up, nice catch. The M4 accessory also not part of any official Nagi release, that's another sign. This specific look, custom aftermarket, likely handmade. L probably did exactly what you said. Cut fabric. End of line. 1.
Let's see here. No, it's sold for $16 in general, the swimsuit. That's a 1/6 scale Obitsu body, small breast, regular skin. The head is a Kaspa Sanzanen Nagi. It's not official. It's made in China. Let's let Reggie know. Reggie deserves to know. I got the answers, Reggie. Thanks for your analysis as well. Here are more deets. There we go. So Reggie can be in the loop with us. Also, she's compatible with any smaller 1/6 scale clothing, like Barbie clothing. The Hello Kitty outfit is official. It's Barbie's Hello Kitty dress. Funny how I found that rifle just laying around on the ground, though. Yeah, that is pretty funny. That yeah, because I'm picturing a larger rifle for some reason, but it's funny that it's like a 1/6 scale army rifle there. I have every single official figure of Nagi. Every official figure. Yeah, I seen your collection, L. Like, I seen the video you uploaded it like 7 years ago, I think. And you have a sick collection. Yeah, like they're there in glass cases. Like, there's dedication there, yo. They're in like that's what I want for my Katagina and a few of my Gundams. I want them in no, I don't have a crush on Katagina. I just think it's a cool figurine. I mean, like, she's got like, it's from a pivotal moment when in Mobile Suit Victory Gundam, she basically like decides to open up her shirt. So here's the picture. Look at this. So this isn't even the best picture because it's not showing the knife in her hand. I don't know why this one doesn't have a knife. It's like they had to scrub it to make it non-violent. This is insanely annoying. I'm going to get the Amazon product picture, I think. Oh, the Gundam picture. That was good. So this is the statue I own. And you can see you can change the chest out to have like boobs or a spacesuit over it. But in one picture, you're going to see she's holding a knife. There it is. See the knife? This is a crazy bitch right here. So why is she holding a knife behind her back while her boobs are out? Why? Why would anyone do that? Why isn't she wearing and you can change her hair too. See, that's her hair. So that's when she's wearing a space helmet. But why does she have her hair flowing in microgravity while holding a knife? You can see the knife right there. Why is she doing this? She's doing it because she's distracting our 12-year-old pilot. He's like, she's coming at him like, I love you, Uso, and her tits are out. And he's like, what's going on? What's with you? I thought you hated me. And then meanwhile, she's getting ready to stab him in the back. Luckily, it was a non-fatal injury. But I just had to buy it. When I discovered they had this statue, I had to own it. I was like, this is so absurd. It's a combination of beautiful anime statue and crazy fucking backstory. And so I bought it. I paid $70 for that. I think I paid $70 for it. I did not pay. I don't think I paid 100. Oh no, I might have paid a lot for that. How much did I pay for this? Yeah, I paid something like this for it. I definitely did not pay like 200 for it. That was a factor in my decision. That's Hinata. I knew it's Hinata from Naruto. I forgot her name. Thank you. That the girl with the white eyes who looks like she's blind is Hinata from Naruto. The swimsuit is not official. The body and the head are official. Ah, I see. Well, yeah, that made sense. I figured as much. Thank you for confirming, El. Barbie collection or Hello Kitty? The Hello Kitty shirt is from a Barbie collection. Basically, Kaspa Nagi Sanzanin, I'm sorry. Basically, Kaspa Nagi Sanzanin, now I can pronounce it, is a solid as doll head with half a body, so you can display her as a bust. I see, like a statue. Yeah, I got you. Like a bust. Which, I don't know, bust, my head's in the gutter, so when I heard that term for the first time when I was younger, I was like, oh, what does that mean? Anyway, you're not showing anything, by the way. I'm not showing anything. Oops. What did I just show? Oh my god, I didn't show you any of this. Okay, let's start over. So, as I was saying, I bought this action figure here. This is Katajina. This is the only anime statue I own. And if you observe, once again, you see she's holding a knife and her tits are out. So, there you go. She's holding a knife behind her back. Her hair's flowing and her tits are out. Mostly, not all of them, but a lot of them. And this is why. Because in this pivotal scene in Mobile Suit Victory Gundam, she comes at Uso all like, I love you, Uso. And Uso opens up the cockpit door. He's like, what's wrong with you, Katajina? Why are you being nice to me all of a sudden? And he used to like her a lot. So, I guess, he thought, she was a pen pal. So then it turns out she's trying to stab him in the back. And she does. But what happens to her later in the show? Well, let's see. She watches while he fights her new love interest. The two pilots have to fight, right? You got your Gundam Beam Saber battle, and she's all like evil. She's like the anti-new type, you could say. And then she's being a bitch over here. And then at the end of the show, she's blind. And she's lost. And she's trying to find her way home. And she lost her memory. And she probably got worse than death. She got like the truest punishment. She went blind during an explosion at the Angel Halo space installation, the new type telekinetic space installation, something like that. No, this one, not everyone dies, just the adults. Peter Venkman Fansite, good to see you. Everyone doesn't die, and thank you for tuning in. Everyone doesn't die in Victory Gundam, just the adults. Actually, everyone does die in Victory Gundam except for a few people. Like, pretty much. Actually, now that you mention it, yes, everyone basically does die in this one. It's basically like how in Zeta Gundam, they call it a kill 'em all series when Tomino wants to kill everyone because the studio maybe dictated too much to him. He decided to, do this. So, yeah, that does happen. But she doesn't die. She goes blind. And he doesn't die. He just loses half of his friends. And so on and so forth. And both his parents. Obitsu bodies are pretty nice. Her body is actually soft skin like. That's interesting. So yeah, I noticed it was PVC. Actually, the Katajina statue I have is also PVC. So I know exactly what you're talking about. It's got that soft texture. I have part of her body here actually because I put it in a bag because I didn't want to damage it. But, look, I have the knife right here. Like, I'm going to reassemble the statue after I clean it. You actually helped me repaint it. Remember the time I had the statue fall? And when the statue fell?
Someone talking to me?
So you can even see like a little dirt on the arm here. So I got to clean it gently with water or alcohol and water mixed together. This looks like I'll have no problem cleaning it, but you got this scuff mark here. I got to clean off gently too. I'm not going to mess with it right now. The knife over here, but after I clean it, I might have to retouch up the knife apparently. Oh no, the knife doesn't need to be touched up. Good, because the knife is mostly good. Yeah, there's just some glue on there or something. But I got to clean it up. But you helped me repaint. There's some dirt over here, so I put it in a bag to isolate it from the rest of the figurine. But you helped me on your stream once repaint the head, which was really cool. We used some of the acrylic paint I have on hand. That was very, very helpful because I was very disappointed when the statue fell. And Ironcaster told me that the best way to stand these up is to get the gunpla mounts that you stand up gunpla on and use those instead of the stand. Because the stand this came on had like a little plastic peg going into the foot. And if it was in a more stable spot, it would have been fine. But when it fell, it snapped the plastic peg. And even though I can modify it to be strong again and make it better, I'd rather do a non-destructive modification to, the whatever I'm attaching the figure to. The limbs are PVC and removable. The main body is some kind of rubbery skin-like material. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so the face is the rubbery material. The limbs are PVC, I guess. The silver-haired, big-breast hag, 1/6 doll, would probably appeal to the male gaze. I should take a pic of it later. Which one? You mean, which one was the hag? Was it the one over here? Oh, yeah. This one here? Yeah, totally. If this is what you're talking about. Yeah, I can see how that... Yeah, it's got all the right curves and a few extra curves, apparently. It's kind of... Yeah, I can see how that would appeal to the male gaze. Male gaze. I can't believe we're using that term. That's funny. That's a cute Shibinagi, by the way. It's not... that's not a hag. Okay, so we talk about... is this the hag? She's not silver-haired. She's blonde. Are you calling Katarzyna a hag? I mean, it's okay. I'm not offended if you're calling Katarzyna a hag because, I mean, like, even though she's not a hag, she's kind of a evil, crazy B word. That's Nagi right here? That's a version of Nagi? Don't look like her. Did she dye her hair?
I didn't have a name.
Yeah. Show me later. That's cool. No, I'm saying I have a silver-haired 1/6 doll with a seamless body. That's a hag. Oh, okay, cool. I can't wait to check that out. Yeah, that sounds great. Yes. Allow the male gaze to gaze upon that. But that's cool. I got you. Oh, okay, that's Kanagi. Gotcha. That's Kanagi from the series that Nagi is in. I got you. But anyway, I think we covered a lot of ground tonight. And before I go on another rambling tirade, unless anyone has any, including Loot Gamer Overrated Pro, Game Gear Goddess, unless anyone, including Game Gear Goddess, has anything else to add, I will prepare to wrap it up. I'm going to raid, or at least I'm personally going to tune into RS218. Reggie, did you have any other comments about the doll and the corrections that Game Gear Goddess provided?
Reggie on the line. Good eye, this is exactly the kind of detail that gives it away. What is official? There is an official swimsuit figure of Nagi Sanzanen.
Wait, no. Wait, is that actually the message that was generated? I guess so. Maybe that was the correct message. Oh, okay. He didn't generate the new speech.
So how about a deal? How about you let
He's also not a hag. You know, I agree. Oh, the doll you're talking about. Oh, Kanagi's not a hag. Yeah. Oh, she's not a hag. Yeah, Kanagi's not a hag. I just thought that's who you were referring to at the time. That's why I was so confused. I was like, that's not a... I was like, I can work with that. Go look up Orca Toys. Sanzan and Nagi. Okay. Sanzan and Nagi.
Okay, here we go. Let me just
I got
my
that.
further
Oh,
skill,
wow.
and then
Oh, yeah,
we
I've
will
seen this
go
one in your collection before. That's a great one.
Where was the part where he agreed to all
Yeah, oh, good. Did you get Orc's message? I don't know if you talked about it on your show this morning. But Orc mentioned that. Wow, she got a tail. Orc mentioned that like there was this like feminist or someone online, and what they did was they were buying up these like statues, or at least they bought a statue and claimed that they don't watch the anime, they don't care about it. They bought it so that none of you evil men would buy it, and for the wrong reason or some weird shit like that. And the argument that Orc was making was that that person probably does like the anime because they wouldn't buy it for $200 unless they actually liked what it was. Oh, this is a shame. This one's discontinued. Because I would buy this one. I don't even know what this is, and I would buy it. Like I'm a fan of Azura Lane all of a sudden, and a Taco and Takao Race Queen. Yeah, I'm a big fan of them all of a sudden now. Never heard of them, but yeah, I have great interest. I think the idea of race queens is important. No, I'm kidding. But jokes aside, this is insane. Actually, the detail on this is insane. Like the shape, the stockings look great on it, but also I think it's hilarious. Like they got a bird in the middle of their boobs. This is like they actually have the squish physics going on. I guess this is a still life. I'm pretty sure these don't bounce back. You can't separate them, right? But what I like about them is they have real body curves. I mean, like these are like, yeah, this is like very, yeah. Well, they're not all real. It depends on the angle you're looking at them, I guess. But no, I mean, this is very interesting. Very artful. I mean, this is some male gaze shit stuff right over here, right? But anyway, but now jokes aside, although that's a very nice statue, I'll say that. So that's what I just looked. I just clicked on advertisement after looking up the initial one. After I looked up Orca Toys Nagi, I clicked on an advertisement. There's 3 versions. I have them all. I hate this thing, so I'll buy $300. Yeah, exactly. That's like the thing. It's like I hate this thing, so I'll buy it for $300. It's just like, or maybe they like the look of it, but they're claiming they're only buying it not because they're interested in the series, but because they want to prevent misogynists from buying it, and that just sounds like BS when it costs $300. Azuri Lane is okay. Shimakaze is best girl. Yes, they're all girls who are named after historical ships. Oh wait, is this there was a one where the girl was a battleships? I actually want to check that one out. It sounded so absurd. I wanted to see that one. It's almost like Mecha Mizume, but it's not. It's ships. Like they have a battleship Yamato. And it's a cute girl, or it's represented by a cute girl, and then she's got like this 18-inch cannons on her. Like not the metaphor of cannons, like the actual 18-inch cannons that battleship Yamato had on it. Yes, they're all girls named after historical ships. That's pretty cool. Oh, thank you for that. What should I vote for? Aris is going to play. I'm going to vote for Mustache Union Syndrome. Let's do Union Syndrome. Okay, good. My vote. Oh, look at that. It's a tie right there. Shoot. We might need a tiebreaker, guys. It's like 33% across the board because of my vote. If I picked one different option, I could have pushed the scale. But because I picked the outlier option, apparently now we have 3 votes, 1 vote for each item, basically. Well, DDR Mario has no votes, so I dare somebody to vote. Someone please vote. Go to Aris' stream. Somebody, I don't care who. Go to Aris' stream and vote for DDR Mario. Or I guess I can log into my Ronald account and do that. Maybe. I'm not even sure if I'm subscribed to Aris from my other account. But yeah, someone should vote for DDR Mario so that Aris is like sitting there like, which one do I pick? They all have 1 vote. This doesn't help. Just be kind of funny. Oh, look, it's Orc. That's Orc. Well, it's not War Chief Orc, but they're greenskins like Orc. So anyway, thank you for the detail, L and Game Gear Goddess. And for everyone else, I want to thank from the bottom of the chat and the bottom of my heart. I want to thank Game Gear Goddess, the Peter Venkman fan site, RS218, California Ford 44, Awesome 1, Awesome 2, Awesome 3. That's also Snow Shepherd. It's good seeing you, Snow. Oh, I didn't play your game today. Well, whatever. I'll play it on my own time. But Maybe I'll play a game a little bit on ROM Ramblings this week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I know there's no ROM Ramblings, but whatever we do, I'll be awake on Saturday as if ROM Ramblings is a thing. If that's alright with you. Well, you did say I can come through. Let's see here. I always want to thank Slim Nim, RS218. I said that already. Useless Guy 7, who gave us some Masonic pics of astronaut tattoos. We also thank you for the contribution. Also, Slim Nim gave us some cool videos today. DJ Play Nice was here. He had some interesting, relevant facts about the space program. We also had Good Intent. Thank you for tuning in. And we had Dave C was here. Yeah, Dave C was here. That's an honor. We also had Real Wade Nation Gaming recap here. We had Gerard's son, Subul37. Thank you, sir. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but I appreciate you tuning in. We also had Orc War Chief Reviews, Chaos for You 728. And I think that covers everybody who is here today. Let's see if Chaos is streaming right now. Chaos is streaming right now, so you guys have a choice. You can tune into Chaos or Orvis. So if you want to tune into Chaos, Chaos is here. Orvis is here. And tomorrow morning, I believe LCX has a regularly scheduled program at noon tomorrow. Same time that Nixon resigned. Effective noon tomorrow. Okay. So that's tomorrow morning. LCX will be live tomorrow morning. Obviously, you got to click on a live button, or you just wait till you get a notification. But whatever stream L is doing will be popping up over here. And if we go to a previous stream or possibly community post, I think we got a weekly schedule posted here too. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. Looks like a delicious donut. I almost ordered. Oh, I did order. Oh, did I put my food in the fridge? Yes, I did. I was trying to order. Ooh, that's a nice. Oh, yeah, this one's a great picture, by the way. I like the way the fabric hugs the curves on this one. Here we go. Here's this week's schedule. So on this week's schedule, we got tomorrow is Friday. L will be playing Bloodstained, and Saturday will be to be announced. Hey, if you want, I can show some Artemis pictures and play Snow's game, or whatever the heck, anything else if you want to do anything. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do something, L. I got something cool that I got to show that I was thinking about showing on your show if that was all right, because I got some new astro imagery data, and I got to do some refinement to this image here. But basically, if we go to 100% zoom, that's M51, the Whirlpool Galaxy. Now, I had to collect more image data of this with the limited clear weather I had. But this is interesting because it gives me an opportunity to show the RGB workflow come together. Because on this image, I had to literally align the color channels like this. Oops. How did I do this before? I forgot how I did this.
He was the son of the dire wolf leader, as if killed. After I gave him a name, he evolved into a tempest wolf. Unsurprisingly, allows me to be his owner. He usually hides in my shadow and has as my personal bodyguard. But he's also a great and takes naps with.
Oh, this one doesn't contain the transformations I applied to the image. That's interesting.
Number of other followers, but let's just leave it at that for now.
Okay, so it's not behaving the way I expected it to behave. That's interesting. Oh, wait. Is that why? Okay, I forgot what's happening here. Maybe I'll start over because I have the individual images from the composite. But essentially what I had to do is I had to take a black and white picture, copy the whole image, and paste it into the red channel. And do that each for the red, blue, and green channels. You can see, oh wow, the blue has radically different image data you can see. So that's the blue channel. green and red, and maybe that's why there's so many problems with the final composite, because I did so much adjustment to the blue channel. I think I overcompensated here, so that explains a lot about the final image here. So I'm going to be rebuilding this composite, and basically part of that process involves manually aligning the colors, which for whatever reason I can't seem to do right now. Like, I want to intentionally de-align the channels. I actually want to do it on purpose right now, and I can't. So no big deal. I'll work it out later. Let's not save this. Maybe I made a change to it by accident. But yeah, we'll touch base in general. Okay. Yeah, sure thing. I mean, I figure Saturday is a good time as any. Obviously, if things get slow tomorrow and I'm awake and, you know, you need some content, but it sounds to me that you got a solid thing planned for tomorrow, where Saturday is to be announced. But in general, I would aim to be up by noon-ish, right? You know, no later than 1 p.m. That's for sure. Definitely not planning to be awake later than 1 p.m. I would not, yeah, you know the deal. Horses, vending machines, and everything else in between. Oh yeah, I heard about the vending machine anime. Pop Culture Mechanic covered that. I think I started that one, but told Brandon about the girls und Panzer. Yes, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, Peter Venkman fans, like, gotta love Japan for anthropomorphic boats and guns. I know, right? Well, that's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, so that's good. We got a rough sketch of what could be done on Saturday. And that will be at LCX, the channel. And by then, I will have some additional astro image processing done. In the meantime, I have one last course for the IBM training to complete, and then I will officially be done with the IBM Z Global Skills Accelerator program. And we'll have a little prestige on my LinkedIn, not that I give a shit about LinkedIn. And I will be able to then go through all of the archives to pillage all of the IBM mainframe documents that I can get, so that I can use them in the future for actual work. Instead of learning things that I don't use, I can actually search against the indexes of stuff that I will need in my day job. So I'm looking forward to being able to utilize that set. And I will be moving on to a Linux training, Red Hat Linux, which I'm already doing, but like I will be able to focus on that. And if I get that Linux certification, it means that I have a little bit more job security. So I'm kind of excited about that. Everything can be humanoid waifu. Everything can be a humanoid waifu. Like Windows 11.10. Oh my god, you're not even kidding. You're not even kidding. Okay, don't even get me started. But we are going to touch on Windows 11.10 real quick. We are going to touch on this because it's hilarious. This is a thing.
In the 2000s,
this is a thing.
Japanese image board site 2chan began posting about Windows operating systems. They explore a stop the most influential tech to Jinkers. She was featured in a series and the toy reflect all of the iMac colors available on a day basis and falls gaining them Windows caching and Yoko is a creative, clumsy, unhinged girl who tries to remain upbeat but is always messing things up and running into trouble. Unlike the Windows ME operating system, which users found infuriating, Mitan was portrayed more as a bumbling victim of her own code than a malicious force. The OS Tan nice badge on the front times a crow virus.
Is there like another video about this?
Good morning.
Oh, good. I watched a bearded guy. Well, he's not really bearded, he's goateed.
The character right here, and as you can see, it kind of looks like a bootleg version of Chino from Gochiusa. I'm actually this to it. People.
Oh, look, it's Nagi. He's got Nagi. He's got Nagi in the back. Right? I can see Nagi from here, even though it's low quality. I can totally see Nagi there.
Fucking stupid. Like, they're tripping all over the internet right now.
You have that statue. I've seen that in your collection too.
These are all using anime to cash in for money because the anime aesthetic makes money. And I'm working on a video that's going to go into a lot more detail on that. Well, I'm not going to fucking problem. And I'm on that video, but at the same time, in fact, they should stop playing video games, watching Hollywood movies, all that kind of stuff. You know, if you think P. Diddy was the fucking last of it, you're dead wrong. There's a good chance that your favorite celebrity is something far worse than the artist who created this image. Look at Nobuhiro Watsuki, for example, and you get it. People are fucked up. I'm scrolling down these images, and I'm not seeing anything fucking bad or anything like that. Granted, this is surface level Google. It's
Let's read this Reddit post and make fun of it. I've seen everyone draw her and use her for their fan con. Well, this Windows 11 10 shouldn't be used. Here's why. Her creator, Carve, was a lolicon. You may ask me, what's a loli? Oh, it's one of these little bitches. Fuck him. I'm not even reading that. People like, they love clutching their pearls about this lolicon thing. It's like, have a fucking sense of humor. Jesus, man. I love that figure. Cute and sexy. Yeah, it is a very, cute and sexy figurine. But anyway, I think we'll conclude on that note. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in once again. Had a blast. Hope you guys had a blast. And, oh no, hello, what the lolicon? Yeah, I'm just reading the chat here. But yeah, you know the deal. You know, like, people clutch their pearls, you know. Let's check that 3D printer one more time real quick. Yeah, that's going. Oh, yeah, it's going pretty good, man. I'm pretty a large ass cube. Yeah, I mounted a camera to my my Z-axis, so it moves up with the Z-axis. I don't know if I can get the refresh rate to be up, but you can see this thing is starting to move so fast that you can see some skewing. You can see how that looks like it's on an angle, and it's kind of inherent unless there's an update I can do. I believe there is an update to get better quality out of the camera. This camera can do 720p. All I would want is the full 30 frames a second. But yeah, and you can see the infill looks like crap, but the outside wall looks fine. So that's because it prints at a really high speed for the infill. And the outside, I do see some gaps in the outside here and there. I think that's something that I'll have to tune out, but so far so good. I mean, I'm excited about being able to print a big plastic cube on this printer, and then we'll do Starships next. So with that being said, I'm going to be tuning into RS218. He's live right now. If you want to tune into Chaos for You 728, his channel is Chaos for You 728. And like I said, tomorrow morning, LCX will be streaming at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And Saturday, I will be paying a visit to that channel as me. Or my VTuber character. And I'll bring Reggie. Of course I'll bring Reggie. I always bring Reggie. Oh, I wish I had Reggie comment on the lolicon thing. I would love to hear his view on that. I feel like he would be more nuanced about it than, the person bitching about it. And even myself or L. So, I think that would be a nice perspective to get Reggie's perspective. Perhaps we will do that next week. With that being said, once again, we will really, really, really officially hereby end this stream. For anybody watching on the replay, if you have any questions, comments, ideas, or concerns, please leave a comment. Please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already liked or subscribed already. And for now, we shall hereby end transmission.